draw, bring art to every door. No need to be perfect, just have some fun. Travel draw for everyone. So grab a brush or a pen or a crayon, make a mark any way you can. In this world of shapes and lines, we'll see creativity shine. Travel draw, let your imagination soar. Travel draw, bring art to every door.
The following is opinion based on my own experiences in life and is no way designed to target or attack anyone, and is open to your own interpretation. We allow all people to respond and share their opinions here as well. All by no means is meant to do hurt or instigate harm to others. Violence and doxing is not only not cool, it's a crime. Seriously, don't be that jerk. Alright, we are live, and I can say I have been kind of dreading this one, but we kind of need to talk about this. So those who don't know, those who are tuning in for the first time, my name is I don't know. I am a VTuber. I am a trans VTuber. I am a trans artist. I am a trans writer. I am not an activist. I have never been an activist. I have been trans for, gosh, going on nearly half my life, and I'm in getting my late 40s here. So, trans for quite a while here, and the issue we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be touchy. I guarantee you I'm going to get thumbs downs and thumbs ups on the streams and whatnot. We welcome everybody's opinion, just, don't instigate hate to each other. That's all I ask. So we're going to tackle upon the issue of why Pride is kind of being toxic this year. Why Pride events are down, why companies are not celebrating Pride as much. And a lot of it has to do with the trans activism. And I have to separate this from trans people themselves, like myself. We do not support a lot of what the media pushes, a lot of what these activists push. And it's disgusting behavior that causes problems with Pride. And we kind of called this out last year when we said there is a Pride problem. Stream's still available on YouTube. Go and check it out. Last year we kind of touched upon a little bit of the trans activists, but we mainly covered about more the disgusting behavior of Pride that some people have done in the past year. That year, Pride is just getting started this month. I want to kind of get this before the parade start, before all that stuff starts. And we might have to come back and circle around that topic. We will be circling around and talking about one individual that we've talked about before, and we're going to be talking about another individual we have never talked about before. But both are trans, or declared trans individuals, and both are very toxic in personality, not just for the trans community, but for every community, honestly. And, of course, I mean Lily Tino, and, again, we're going to catch on Anna Valerian as well. On how their toxicity fuses and feeds into what we will go into in the second hour here, where we'll talk about the situation of how people have not been taking kindly to Pride anymore, and it literally is, they've gone too far. Particularly the trans activists have gone too far, and certain trans activists, and there's a reason why I put Anna Valerian in this, because more came out about her. She continues to attack people with basically no credibility, and just continues to use the vice, and she tries to play victim when she goes out and attacks people, and then says, "Oh no, I'm the victim." It's like, no, you're attacking people. So, when you're the attacker, you don't get to play the victim card. I'm sorry. And so we're going to be calling out that crap. And we'll be talking about a few other things. So, yeah. Not an easy subject. I do expect to not get much done art-wise today. Until the 3rd and 4th hour. At which point we have a kind of a unique request, but we're going to touch on it. Some of you might have seen we did this last week. I'm redrawing this panel because I did not like how it came out last week. So we're going to be redrawing this panel as part of Love Potion Lament, which is going to be coming out at the end of the month as part of a contest. Right now I am not releasing any of it, but I do think in about maybe the end of this week and the start of next week, I might release some of the pages in order on Patreon, so the sponsors can see it before it becomes public, as per usual. Now, when we talk about this subject, it's touchy. We could go with, you know, what a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of, you know, conservative far right, conservative to far right. I am trying to separate that, so it's not everybody on the right is this way, and it's not everybody on the left is this way. It's literally activists. But when we talk about situations like Pride going away and kind of being, it's a risk factor basically. And after having years of promoting transitioning children, which has been an issue I've called out for years. I've called it out for probably back in 2012 when I started transitioning. I was doing a blog at the time, and I was calling that crap out then. But, of course, you know, my voice is small and minute, and not everybody really cared to listen at that point in time. And, well, you know, as time progressed, it's like, hey, alright, people are going to keep pushing this, and pushing this, and pushing this, and it's going to be the wrong people continuously pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's come to a head. It really did. So, a lot of this kind of boiled over come pretty much 2020. So along with COVID, everything kind of boiled over. And for past few years, while one administration was in office, they kind of let and push the trans agenda from the activists go on. And they ignored a lot of other people in the GLBT community, a lot of people that were saying no to this whole scenario, and just ignored it. And because of that, they kind of fed it into this mindset that this is fully 100% accepted, and it's not even accepted 100% in the trans community. So, I mean, stuff like last year with Dylan Mulvaney, and there's a reason I chose not to add Dylan in this setup. I called him out last year. I don't think Dylan's a true trans person. I do feel that they do it all for clout. And I feel it's the case of a lot of people, especially these two I'm going to be talking about today, in the first hour. So when we talk about Anna Valerians and we talk about Lily Tino, they're glory hogs. That's literally what they are. There's a term for it, and it is a glory hog. It is someone who seeks out the attention and brings forth hate on them to get the attention. And that is literally who these people are. And when we deal with people, like in the case of Lily Tino, where she is truly toxic to the internet, to a point where just their behavior in public should be shamed. I don't care, you know, whether or not they're trans. I do feel their face surgery, if it actually happened. I certainly have some doubts about it. But if it actually happened, Lily, y'all need your money back, because nothing happened. It was the biggest botched job I've ever seen, if that's the case. And we need to kind of understand, is there a way for the groups to kind of come together and be like, yeah, we can understand. Yes, but we need to stop listing the activists. And I think we're at that point in the media these days. I think there are people, throwing flames, the pendulum's going the opposite direction. The catch is to not go all the way to the opposite direction with the pendulum, and that most people don't understand the concept of the pendulum. A pendulum swings back and forth, and that politics does that regularly on occurrence. And when we talk about GLBT issues in history and lessons and whatnot we've learned, there's a lot of alienation, yes, from different sides, including the right, including the left, that, yeah, we are going to a little bit of some toxic behavior from individuals on Twitter and whatnot. Yeah, it's to be understood. It's going to happen. But that's because the left went way too far, or the activists went way too far over the past few years on this whole issue. And when you mess with people's kids, that's when you go too far. It really is. I don't care which side you land on. When you mess with somebody's kids, you're in trouble. And I've always stated that when it comes to people transitioning with kids, be it them or the child, that needs to wait until the child's grown. I do not understand why we continuously deal with the arguments from people that is like, oh, we need to protect the trans kids. It's like, protect them from what? They're like, oh, well, they're going to commit suicide. It's like, look, a lot of the situations I've spoke before on our last time we talked about this difficult subject. A lot of trans situations, it's other issues, be it mental, life, or something else that causes those. It's not usually just because they're denied something. If they're being denied something and they go that route, then they have a mental disorder. I'm sorry, a severe mental disorder. And we're not talking, the concept of trans being a mental disorder. We're talking about, in general, they have a mental disorder. Because they're looking to things to be relieves for their issues. And when you look for a way to find a relief for your issue that's not medical, that's not actually therapeutical, and we can get in the whole trans therapy a little bit tonight, and why therapy, I repeat, the therapy part, it's been ignored for too long. It used to be, when I came out, and it's been for years since before that if you were trans, but in order to get meds, you had to have gone through 2 years of mental therapy. It was not something you could, just ignore. You had to have it. Nowadays, you don't need to have it. And that's part of the problem here, is we continuously say, oh, well, it's not a big issue. And then we also talk about, oh, hey, make excuses when something happens and be like, oh, well, I have a mental disorder. It's like, yeah, have you done anything about that mental disorder? Or do you honestly have that mental disorder, or are you claiming you have a mental disorder? Are you working to improve that mental disorder, or are you just trying to promote that mental disorder? That's part of our problem. A lot of non-mental, or focus on the mental aspects of things, and a lot of focus on just you're right or you're wrong, I'm right scenario. And that's sadly what we've come to in a lot of things. And while I could have talked about another subject that's going on at this time, with the very same concept of you're right, I'm wrong, or I mean, you're wrong, I'm right scenarios, where people don't want to listen to actual complaints of other people. They don't want to listen to, you know, what other people's problems are with situations. They just want to label. That's when we're in trouble. And unfortunately, we're at that point. Far too many people these days just want to label any issue as, you know, ist or phobe or whatever. And when we get to that point, it's hard to talk to people. It really is. It's hard to bring people to an understanding. It's hard to negotiate peace when all you're gonna do is shout at each other. It really is. Or get worse. And so, I mean, I kind of wanted to tackle this subject over the more glaring issue currently of, you know, nation status of individuals. Maybe we'll touch upon that another time. I don't know. That one, I don't want to go into tonight. That one I don't really don't want to touch on tonight. Issues are too raw right now with that, and let's look away from that. So, there are people being like, well, Pride's not being successful. Pride's being hurt, blah, 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 blah. Alright, let's get into the first issue. So, it's 15th of the hour. We're going to cover our first part. So, we're going to cover the problem with Lily Tino. So, those who don't know, Lily Tino is a TikToker, activist, that pretty much just goes on and they declare they're instructing people educationally, but when actuality they're just really creating adult content and aiming it at children. And it's disturbing. And so we have Lily Tino here. Trans activist films a video explaining how her member will be surgically transformed into a cave. I can't even say these words without getting hit. At Disneyland, using Minnie Mouse cake pops while children enjoy the theme park nearby. Why are you at Disney World? Why are you even using cake pops? Honestly, why are you trying to educate children about your surgery? I don't understand it. I really don't. We used to have decency laws in around here, and I really wish some of them would come back. And, I can tell you right now, Lily Tina is, there are problems. And you can see, yeah, cake pops. Lily Tina, Corotino, as their name, full name is. Video at Disneyland, using Minnie Mouse cake pops as their disguise. Now, I'd be like, oh, well, this was a one-time thing. No, this is a, 15th, 20th time she's done this? And add to the fact that this is the same person who goes into restaurants, and if they call them sir, they throw a fit, they demand proper treatment, and they absolutely act ugly to the public. So this is a person who is absolutely mentally unstable from their actions every time they hear the word sir in their company. When they act like a complete ass. And I'm sorry, if you're gonna act like an ass, you're gonna get treated like an ass. And I'm really fighting off not just calling Lily Tino her, him right now. Because, damn it, you act like it, you sound like it, you freaking are just a complete and total ass to people in public, and I give you no respect for your assholery that you are in general public. And the fact that they continue to do this crap, continue to do this crap, needs to be called out. And I'm just sick of this stuff. And this was, of course, done on Disney Pride 2024, was these pictures. But this issue, she did it again. And she's doing other things. And she's going back to the park. And she continues to do these things. Let's go to here. Influencer. So this was literally just released. This comes from New York Post. Trans influencer filming in women's room at Walt Disney World. Everything that's wrong with the selfish movement. If you want to hurt the trans community, you act like this. No woman should be filming in the bathroom, let alone a trans person. And if you want to hurt the community more, Lily, because I'm calling your ass out on this one. If you want to hurt the community more, you do this shit. You are responsible for this crap. And it's disgusting. And this behavior is pure mental disturbance. Purely mental disturbed. They need mental therapy immediately, if not to be in the mental clinic, in my opinion. Because they are delusional. They are fucking insane. And they are filming people in private areas that they should not be. That's a crime. Right there. So, Lily, in my opinion, you should have actually had your ass arrested. But, I mean, hey, that's your thing. Oh, yeah, here's the wonderful, I had face surgery. Well, I don't see swelling on these from the feminine surgery. And then you can kind of see their face here. That's the only thing I can assume is the nose was maybe down a little bit. Let's see from the year before. Let's see the picture from the year before. So, yeah, they got their nose down a little. They shaved it down a little bit. That's it. That's what their surgery was. If they did anything on the chin, they probably tried to shorten it, and it didn't do much. So, they really did a botched job. Now, if they think this is being feminine, then their ass is just delusional as hell. I question if she's even on hormones, because honestly, there ain't no chest there. And I can tell you right now, a year on hormones, you start to develop a chest. This is more like a padding. So, I mean, this is just delusional. Absolute delusional behavior. And you can see how they looked beforehand. And nothing here tells me anything other than they're just cross-dressing. That's all I get. And the behavior is just insane. Their behavior is just criminal. And I can't take it. I really can't. And so, you get more transgender influence. The man's refund after being misgendered by a cast member. Sir, Lily Tino, sir, I'm going to call you sir now, because I'm just pissed. You don't deserve, your ass deserves to be thrown out of Disney World, but your ass deserves to be thrown in jail, like I said. This kind of behavior is disgusting, and this is from InsideTheMagic.com, so this isn't any strange thing. Let's see what the comments have to say here on this one. I'd love to see the comments, commenters. He just wants attention. That's why he wants the video and confrontations. Can anyone imagine why or how anyone follows him? It's just confusing. As he confuses, he is. Someone else is holding an account for misgendering. This has gone beyond control. You are biologically male or female. You're encouraged. So, we talked about this. You can be trans. You're gonna have your biology. It's always gonna be there. You cannot change that. Maybe in the future, maybe in some far-off scientific, sci-fi reality, we can do DNA alteration. But for now, it's not possible. And the delusional takes of people like Lily hurt the trans community and hurt the pride community immensely. And it's disgusting. And if you think I'm just the one standing out, well, there's a change.org removal from TikTok. These people have demanded that she get removed from TikTok. And that's 34,000 people demanding this person to do. And this is without anyone promoting this change.org, by the way. This is just like a small group. They go into this, and it really is concerning this individual and how they've acted and how they've gone about through TikTok and how they act in the public eye. So when we talk about situations that are problematic, we have Lily Tino really is a seriously big problem. So let's get back to the art. I mean, Lily Tino, like I said, a delusional person. They're absolutely delusional. And it's a lot of stuff going on that is disgusting. But it's not as disgusting as the next person we're going to be talking about. It's not as going to be as disgusting as our issue with Anna Valerian. And for some reason, some of these things are not working now. There we go. Well, does it cover? Because I want to make sure I'm covering the right thing. Okay, that does cover it. Okay. So when we talk about, what is hurting pride, what is it? A lot of it is exhaustion. People are tired of seeing it in their face. People are tired of you pushing, concept after concept after concept. And then when you really force it down their throat that they have to accept somebody. No one has to accept you. All right? That's the reality of being trans. No one has to accept you. Being trans is not about someone else accepting you. It's about you accepting you. That's what it is. It's not about having someone else accept you. And behavior like Lily Tino, and then coming up Anna Valerian's, it's disturbing. It is absolutely disturbing behavior. And to have some people go in and be like, oh, well, I'm a trans influencer. This is how things have to be. That's the problem. That is the real problem here. So it's not that trans individuals are being heard, it's trans activists are being heard. And some of those activists aren't even trans! There are people like, you've got to do this because of trans people. It's like, no, you don't have to do that because of trans people. You have to, acknowledge I'm a human being, treat me with respect as far as the law concerns, but I'll treat you with respect as far as the law concerns. If I do something to violate said respect and laws, then by all means, I am a criminal. Same with anybody who does anything against me. It is the same concept. When you have people who go about acting like fucking clowns, because that's what they are. These two are absolutely fucking clowns. When they're acting that way, it does us no good in society. And when we give voices to these people and we make the world be like, oh, well, this person is accepted because of that, and this person has so many followers. Look, we need to stop following the world according to follower count. And it goes with also news media here. Just because you're news media doesn't mean you're jack squat. And especially mainstream media these days, they want to find the victim. So they will do anything to find a victim and use that victim as a cry me a river moment and paint somebody bad, especially somebody they dislike. But then when you get somebody who is of both an activist and a media personality, in the case of Anna Valerians, you get someone who can abuse power. And that is exactly what Anna Valerians is doing. So we talked about Anna a few weeks ago when we covered the most hated VTubers. When we covered a little bit of the Kirsch situation. And we came back to it a little bit later with another stream as well, where we talked about the behavior of Anna Valerians to basically get companies to cancel Kirsch in this situation. Now, I've watched a few things of Kirsch since we've last in the stream. I don't have anything to object with her. You know, we may have disagreeing views, and what is trans, what is trans, and where I belong as a trans person. But that's for us individually, not for people to go about and be like, oh, you need to turn around and be respectful to these people, or else we'll cancel you. It's like, dude, they have a voice that's that matters just as much as my own. Now, mind you, Kirsten's voice is a lot louder than mine, although she's smaller in voice than, say, Asmongold or, say, Nux, who we also addressed in those issues, that they've also come out and said the same things. I still support Nux, folks. I am still a sponsor of Nux Taku, so I am a trans person. I don't have a problem with Nux. And they've talked about issues, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, Nux is a transphobe. It's like, when you start to bring in the phobe, the ist, in any situation, that is a clear representation that you are trying to cause an issue. Absolutely. And that was the key of Anna Valerians. And Anna Valerians has been a voice for, I think, 5-6 years now, maybe a little bit longer, on a lot of media. I'd like to say new media, but it's stuff like Vice. And Vice is a dying site, so I don't want to call them a new media when they're a complete and total trash rag. And when we bring into it, it's their position at these things is they are a sex expert and gender equality and VTubing expert and gaming expert, blah, 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 blah. When in actuality, they're just a loudmouth activist that has their way and cries and throws a fit when they have somebody come out against them. It really is. It's just that. And they need to be called out on this crap. But they're worse. There's worse. So, previously we kind of talked about Anna's wonderful writing that basically she wanted to have camps where trans people would gratify themselves on women without women's permission. This was their fan fiction. This was their wonderful writing. I have to be careful with what I'm saying, because people have been banned covering what Anna has written before. Yet, for some reason, Anna continues to be. And also, I will call out another thing with Anna. So, Anna is a quote-unquote VTuber. And I say quote-unquote because she uses a model from VR Chat, which, no fault there. I mean, people want to do that, that's fine. But the model is, like, bland and basic, honestly. We'll show you the model later. And as an artist, it offends me that is considered a VTuber model. And if you're Anna, honestly, you can afford it. If you're going to stand here and continuously write slander piece on other VTubers, you might as well get a damn good VTuber yourself if you're going to try and be a VTuber. But this will be looked on as, oh, I'm attacking her. Oh no, I'm attacking Anna Valerians because I disagree with what she's written, with what she's done, with what she's done in the name of trans people, and that it's this crap that has done damage. And we're gonna escalate. I mean, we're gonna show Anna as we come into the next 10 minutes here. We'll go into Anna's scenario, and then the next hour we are literally going to show you what's going on, how Reddit's taking things over the last few years, how different news media have taken it, how whatnot, and see the dying scenario and where they exactly know to blame, because you can see the place to blame, and it's people like Anna, it's people like Lily Tino, and it's literally these people that are causing this problem. And I hate to see it escalate, but we're starting to see that pendulum swing, and it's probably going to start swinging, and it's people like that that are absolutely the reason that it started to swing that way. Now, do I feel like it should have swung full end of the center a bit? Yes, absolutely. Because the area I haven't talked about, and the area we're going to be discussing today with, as we go into Anna, is Anna's part of that movement that's not just trans. No. They're more than trans. They're a group that's been trying to affiliate themselves with the GLBT, particularly the trans movement. And it's probably the most disgusting and the one group I am more than willing to say get rid of now. Chemically castrate them. And that's the pedophiles. Anna Valerians is someone who is self-described a roundabout of a pedophile in their mindset. And I'm saying their mindset because what they use as the term is absolute bullshit. It's, yeah, you're of that mindset, Anna, and that's disgusting behavior, and you want to talk about other people's disgusting behavior when you yourself are admitted to being a pedophile, in my opinion, and 100%. And we are going to show the words to you. So, no one, I repeat, no one, because a lot of people in the GLBT movement have been abused cases of pedophiles. They have been mistreated and attacked by pedophiles, and people are actively trying to make pedophiles part of the GLBT, and it is... I'm at the point where I'm somewhat agreeing with other groups. It's like, I want the T to be on its own. Take the GLB, put that elsewhere. That's something different. Put the T in its own category. That's something different. Maybe you can put the bi in, not bisexual, but binary in there. When you start to go into the other weird, different concepts of genders out there, which are just usually words that have no meaning and are absolutely just people trying to make crap up to be like, oh well, I need to be accepted because I am of this and I need clout. Clout. And so that's how they act, and they see how it worked in the past, and so that's what they need. That's what they crave, and it's disgusting behavior. It's disgusting behavior. And when we have a society that is being only one side, the negative side, the worst side, is being listened to by the media and promoted by the media and promoted by the things, it destroys those that are actually trying to deal with these issues, who are actually going the right way, who are trying to deal with the problems they had before them. And you have people that are just causing this toxicity. more and more, and they're like, oh, what's it? I'm being attacked by phobes and racists and all that. It's like, no, you're being attacked. Not at all. You're not being attacked at all. You're presenting yourself, and you're getting your reaction. Your reaction that you're getting is what you don't like, and that's what you want to react about more, and you just keep rolling that thing, and you keep going in the news media, and the news media who wants to see the bleed, because if it bleeds, it leads. They keep wanting to see it more and more and more and more and more. So the blood and violence just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. And we've reached a breaking point. 2024 technically was that breaking point. And I'm going to say it was before the election. I honestly think it would have been the start of June, and then escalated on, ironically, my birthday, July 13th. When Trump was shot. So, I do feel when the escalation happened there is we saw we saw a scenario where the world media kind of just was like, oh, this is nothing, oh no, assassination attempt on a political person based off of the actions and reactions, all the takes and all that. That's nothing. No, not absolutely nothing. When we see that kind of crap and basically see them trying to get away with things, that's when you wake up the world. It really is. You woke up the world at that point, and they're basically calling you out on that bullcrap news media. They're calling you out on that bullcrap. And when you try to keep pulling this crap over and over their heads, and it's not working now. I mean, like I said, there's currently an issue going on in the world. It is June 10th, 2025. We just had a very active weekend of turmoil in some cities. And a lot of that has been due to one glaring issue. And for the longest time, it's been accepted as, oh, well, this is just them trying to, have a normal life and all this, blah, 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 blah. When they're ignoring that criminals are involved. When they're ignoring that this is about crime and actual people being hurt by said crime. And the media is trying to just cover that up as like, no, don't look that. Don't look at that. No, don't look at that direction. And it's that kind of crap. It really is that kind of crap that is made people fed up with the whole situation and be basically like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm gonna do something else. I don't give a crap about this, and this. And pride is right there on that list because it's been shoved in people's faces. And we've been told far too long to accept very disruptive behavior. People going after people's children in ways that is immoral and disgusting. And allowing criminals for the last few years to get away with things. And for that reason, we are kind of in the situation where we are now. And when we talk about, hey, you need to bring tensions down, we need to calm matters. Calming matters down is not going, oh, I'm going to firebomb these people and loot and steal a building and, oh, I'm the victim. No, you are not the victim, you are a criminal. And in the case of trans activists, to come back into our subject of the evening, when hate is driven to a person, there's two sides of the story. Why is the hate driven to them? Now, about 2 weeks ago, we covered a story of a trans individual who ended their existence. And I showed the hate that was driven towards them for a month because they did that. Just because they did that. That's the only reason. And that was disgusting behavior, and I called that crap out. Well, I'm calling this crap out now. So let's go on over to Anna. Oh, look! Anna's own tweets. Oh, wow. So, waiting for some of these to load here. I'd love to have this reload page, please. So, I have OCD. Curses fans discovered once I tweeted about having POCD. Intrusive thoughts and based on fears of being a pedophile. So now they're weaponized my long-term overcome of POCD to pedojacket me and demand my death. Well, I'm right now trying to see any of these. Okay, one person says into the wood chipper, which is a regular phrase against pedophiles. If you have pedophilic thoughts and you have a term POCD, meaning you haven't acted out on them, but you're still a pedophile thoughts, you're still a pedophile, Anna. I'm sorry, you're a pedophile. Yeah, don't get cured by it. OCD is not something you can cure yourself from, and if you're a pedophile and you say you have intrusive thoughts of being pedophile, then maybe you are a pedophile and you have OCD thoughts. You saying you can't cure it. It's not it's a mental disorder. You need to be properly treated. It's not gonna be cured. So right there in your own words about that. So, and we got it again here. Hold on, let's see if I can get. Nope, still can't get any of these to post. All right. So, VTuber slams Twitch for incoherent rules in a VR bikini. Guess who this is? Oh, it's Anna. Anna Valerian's VTuber. Lashed out at Twitch for her virtual models bikini, which she wore in a VR chat podcast. Look at this very bland, very boring, very blah character. Horns. Okay. Let's see. If I'm gonna design a very basic VTuber, let's see. We're gonna give it horns, or we might put like a little skull here and there, and and just have a very basic face. No details, no color, no sense of attitude. We're just gonna kind of just really be basic about it. And so Anna Valerians was complaining about, in this case, and this was back in April of 2025. This is the same Anna Valerian. Same Anna Valerians, folks. Same person. The same person that's attacked. Is wearing a bikini. Now, there's a reason you only see my outfit the where it is in here. It's because it has to meet Twitch standards. Twitch can have women wearing bikinis on live stream. Hell, I could do a live stream. I could show my chest on stream with a bikini on. Trust me, you don't want to see it. It's disgusting. I say it's disgusting because I am overweight, in my opinion, and I don't like the looks of myself at times. Question why I'm a VTuber. There's the answer. But, I mean, I'm not going to go about doing it, but it happens. There are people out there with bikinis on, and they'll do the streams, and Twitch will be fine with it. They're like, okay. Now, a guy can't wear, I think, a tank top and get away with it. And that's, like, okay. And, we could all go high in heaven, talking about Twitch's standards and rules and censorship. I'm just going to pitch you over to check out Tectone and their wonderful situation they've been dealing with all this past week and a half that still is a problem from what I've seen in this latest post. But when you have people out here that are being the face of the trans community, people like this, people like Dylan Mulvaney, going out there and being these absolute assholes and acting disgustingly, treating other people disgustingly, causing out situations, because Anna's still doing the attack hits. Mind you, Kersh got hers taken down from Vice because she threatened lawsuit. But technically, I think Vice needs to get rid of Anna, but at the same time, Anna has a lot of other places to go to because she's been there before. I think Anna needs to go spend some time in a mental institution along with Lily Tino till they can learn how to behave like normal people. Now, some people might be like, oh, trans is not normal in any way, blah, 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 blah. But when you talk about situations like how disgusting these people have been and their nature, how they treat people in general public, Lily Tino is at worst, or no, at best of being worst, a Karen. Actually, a Kyle. Let's call him a Kyle. Because I am not going to, again, I am sorely having this really hard time calling Lily Tino a woman anymore. I really am. And it's because how they act, I really don't want to call them that. So, yeah, I'm willing to misgender her for the concept that she is actually, she treats people like garbage. And when you treat people like garbage, you need to be treated like garbage yourself. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry about that, because I mean that's exactly how it should be done. You know, respect people. Yeah, people can do some absolute crap things, and you can have some absolutely crap days, but at the same time, it's continuous with them, and it shows. And Anna, you need to put the pen down. I don't even know how you put it up to begin with, because all I've ever seen from you is disgusting and lewd articles, and I don't know how they get published these days other than someone has a thing for it. That's all I can think of. And I pray for the day that Vice shuts down. I really do, because they're absolutely just trash magazine. That being said, let's get back to art. Alright. So, yeah, you can see the article we're going to cover later. Another New York Post, but we're going to cover some more articles in there that are beyond New York Post. And in fact, that New York Post is 2 years old. So, we're gonna be addressing some issues about how Pride is going. And so, let's get to the major part of the issue for the day. So, we're done attacking with two people that are perfect examples of why the trans movement is hurt by individuals acting that way. Let's talk about what it means for Pride. So, for the last several years, I mean decade pretty much, the Pride movement had been something that happened every year in June. Still is, and still, despite some events and what some people say about different laws, without actually reading said laws, they tend to ignore what is actually stated. So, and they go, oh, we're being attacked because of this law, blah, 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 blah. Now, there are some laws that are beyond restrictive and go way too far and are dumb and stupid. I'm looking at you, Texas law and freaking anime. Yeah, I'm technically, right now, I'm technically illegal for what I'm drawing right now in Texas. Oh no, come and get me. I'm such a criminal. I'm drawing a character that is underage in a story about two children falling in love and not sexualizing it. Well, technically one child falling in love with another child. The unrequited love, because, yeah. Whether or not their love develops will be resolved in Witchin' later. So, and that's when they're adults, folks. So, it's a matter of, when we talk about the Pride, companies are realizing there's no money in it. There really isn't. They pushed really hard, and they continuously see the declining numbers in sales, the declining interest in continuously promoting it. And what really started this role was not actually the trans movement. So we'll start where it started to deravel. When it started to deravel was when gay marriage became a thing, because the movement was about providing gay marriage and making gay voices heard. But when gay marriage was accepted, you don't have a reason for the movement anymore, now do you? Yeah. So that started the unraveling. Now, I mean, if it were just that, it would not have gone on and been a big problem for people. Probably over time, because a lot of people are being more accepting of gay marriage, of, same-sex couples getting together. Now, I mean, there's still debates, over, is it legal to do it by this way, and how the process came about. Legally, to do it was a bit messed up, because you should not have the Supreme Court making the decision. It should have gone through legislation of the Congress into the presidency. But it was a decision by the Supreme Court. We accept it now. It's done. It's over. Now, when we talk about the trans end of things, well, the reason why Pride exists, the concept of Pride exists, was the Stonewall case. When Stonewall occurred, and the people that led the Stonewall issue and got jailed and got thrown in prison and got hurt by the Stonewall case were trans people. They were trans. The trans took the hit there, not so much the gay people. The gay people still took gay, lesbians still took a hit there, but it was more the trans community that took the hit there. But when we look at who's been doing more damage, we go to those horrible actors. We really do. Especially over the last 10 years. Where you have communities that are like, oh, they're trans, so we need to also accept pedophiles. Oh, they're trans, so, we need to transition children. No. Oh, you have to accept me because I'm trans. No. You don't have to do squat. In this country, and I'm speaking about Americans, so those of you outside of the U.S., I can't speak for your end because, well, I don't know your laws. But in the case of America, it doesn't matter what your skin is, doesn't matter what your gender is, doesn't matter what you love and what you hate. You're a citizen. As long as you are born in this country or have gone through the citizenization of process legally. I have to state that these days. Because there are a lot of people who don't understand. Yes, you have to do it legally to be a citizen, to get the rights. It is not blessed upon you just by crossing the border. Now, you do have rights if you're visiting here. Be it through illegal or legal means. You do have some rights. Yes, you do. But you do not have the rights that will keep you from being kicked out of said country. And in that same concept, trans people have rights. They do. Now, that doesn't mean they have the excuse to fight people for their right, or say to, attack people because they're saying, oh, I'm feeling my rights threatened. No. I can tell you right now, there's no law in the books that is actually hurting a trans rights right now. Right now. Absolutely right now, there's no law hurting trans rights. Now, there are some laws hinted that maybe down the line, yes. But the main thing is, right now, the ones that people point to is, oh, well, we're not allowing gender change surgeries of minors. Well, you shouldn't go through it at minor, because you're going to have a lot of damage and health hazards put on your body at that time. So we've talked about that several times. You need to watch what you're doing with your body and understand what you're going to do is going to be changing it against its natural order. And it's going to hurt. It's going to do damage to it. There are going to be problems that you need to watch out for health-wise. Again, if you are going to be a diabetic, or you are a diabetic, you can't transition. I'm sorry, you can't. It's going to damage and kill your liver, and most doctors will not let you transition. If you get a doctor that does, then they are willing to do harm to their, patient. When we talk about the military situation of trans people wanting to serve in the military, I couldn't join the military when I wasn't transitioning because I was an asthmatic. Because I require medicine. As a trans person, you require medicine. You cannot be out on the field in a combat zone and dependent upon medicine. And when you are on trans meds for years, several years, mind you, your body is dependent upon those meds. And if you try and go off those meds, it will do basically a greater form than withdrawal. I mean, I don't even want to say it's withdrawal. You're going through more than just withdrawal. Your body will have some serious problems to it. Now, there's a lot of, people who detransition because they got sort of suckered into the concept of thinking, oh, well, they're trans when they actually aren't. And there are trans people, though, that are, and I'm one such case, where we go through the concept, we actually focus on things, and we understand what we're in for. And that's one of the key things you need to know when you go into a transition. But far too many people don't know that. They get on the meds, and then they start to have withdrawals, and there's still going to be issues that they can't change about themselves. When people detransition, they're not always going to be able to fully detransition. That's the thing. It's not an on-off switch, folks. You've got those meds into you, and your body is dependent upon them, and if you go off them, you could run into dire consequences to your liver, to your organs, that will severely damage them. Now, you can slowly be weaned off of them to a minimal rate, but your body's still going to be dependent upon things. And your body's still going to be altered in many ways. And that's not going through surgery. That's just the meds, folks. It is not an on-off switch, and you need to know that before you transition. Period. But I can tell from the viewership right now, I'm probably being also muted a bit from YouTube and Twitch on this. I don't know about you guys over on Kick or you guys on Twitter. You guys can shout out if you're here, if you want to say anything, want some input, or if you want me to just keep rambling, I'll just keep rambling. So, when we discuss the laws that people state has been done to them, which, again, nothing actually has happened yet, legally. And if it does, there's going to be a whole mess of, litigation to go in between things, and challenges to that law, and so on and so forth. So it's anything that's going to happen, it's going to take years to actually happen. Let's put it that way. When we go about and say what's really hurting individuals, what's really bringing the environment, it literally comes down to what we're being fed means what. And I don't mean food-wise, but in some cases maybe that is. But it's more mentally. What do we take in information-wise? What we take in on life? And what we take in from the media that we get fed. And a lot of people don't understand that the media is out there for blood. It's always out there for blood. And it's gonna find issues to bring people to divide them. And if you're gonna stand there and be like, this is the adamant way, this is absolutely the only way, blah, 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 then guess what? You're on that divisive issue. You're not sitting there, you're not thinking through rationally, you're not sitting and going, well, let's think about, this issue or this issue. Let's plan out and focus on what's before us. Instead, you're just looking for a toxic behavior. You're looking for a toxic environment. Whether to agree with you or disagree with you, you're seeking that out. And in a way, social media pushes that forward. But the media itself pushes that forward as well. And it's really disgusting how many people do not admit that. It's both areas commit this toxic behavior. And in order to grow and develop, you need to come up with your own frippin' mind. And it's where critical thinking really comes into play. The irony of a cartoonist who used to have a comic called Critical View, talking about critical thinking. So, when one talks about the importance of critical thinking, I have this problem, A. I need to resolve this problem. What are my situations? How do I work out these issues? How can I handle the situation? What do I do to improve situations that occur again? And you're going to go through that on a lot of things. And so a lot of people don't know how to deal with that these days because it's not been taught for years. I hate to say it. I mean, it's pretty much since the turn of the century, a lot of people have not been teaching critical thinking. And it's ways to plan out your confronting issues, plan out and talk and discuss things. And a lot of that is we've just become a react, environment. Instead of thinking through, we just react. It's like, oh, well, this issue, react to it. And so, we have situations like what's literally going on today in places like LA and other major cities where it's, oh, I disagree with his point of view, so I'm going to react immediately and not think through, well, why is this point of view this way? Why are they doing this? Instead, it's like, oh, no. They're absolutely hateful. They're the reasons why. So there's no critical thinking towards it. So why is pride hurting? Why is it? It comes down to, it doesn't really have a purpose if you don't deal with all issues of the environment, but at the same time, when you have people and you completely omit others from the conversation of your group, so you basically isolate your group to certain viewpoints and you demand things of people, everyone. You basically make demands of everyone, like we've been going through with these whole thing with these trans activists. That's when you start to be like, okay, well, maybe their issue isn't so much just, I have a disruption against, this issue, or whatnot. Maybe it's you're isolating. It's the concept of, there's a wonderful comic out there, and I hate to give it to Stone Toss, but I think it was Stone Toss that did it. You see a bunch of people arguing on two different sides, and there's a person in the middle, and one person on one side shoves the person over to the other side, and then all of a sudden they're arguing, well, why are you with them? The person that did the shoving argues why they're with them. And it's like, you shoved me over there. You forced me into that situation. And that is the situation we're dealing with Pride. We have gone way too far by pushing and pushing and pushing ideas and issues to the point that you've stretched us thin, that there's no reason to have that pride anymore. And frankly, done. Bye. Good long. I will just be happy just being a person and being accepted as a person. That's it. That's all I expect from the world. But, there are people out there that want to do otherwise. There are people out there that want to cause the world to burn, to, just sit there and be like, hey, I need to see this world, do this, and I deserve this of this world. And people just don't realize, no, you don't. You deserve nothing. And you should get nothing if you're gonna behave that way. My daughter's wrapped in winds of steel. And that's honestly how we got in this situation. When you have a group that is just constantly demanding their attention, demanding you give them everything, and that if you're not agreeing with them 100%, that you're an istophobe or whatever, that is when you start to lose arguments. That's when your argument has become so thin, so devoid, that you're destroying yourself and you're not even seeing it. When let's do this. I will use an entire new page. Here, we'll draw it out. Say I have a box. Now, as any good artist will tell you, a square is just a square. But a box has multiple sides. And those sides are a perspective. Such is the same case for any issue. It's a matter of perspective. When you take that issue and you try to stretch that box out, you take your issue and you stretch it out. What happens? It meets, it thins, and it meets. It gets to the point where it's a dot again. And what is a dot? An insignificant point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what's going on with Pride. It is losing its perspective. It is caused by continuously pushing and pushing and pushing to people to the point that it doesn't matter. Let's get on to the talk part of this. Alright. So, this is by Bruce Brawler back in June 2023 in New York Post Opinion. I fought for gay rights, but the trans activists destroyed the meaning of pride. So I'm old enough to have been active in gay rights when you could be arrested in some American jurisdictions for a kiss. That was the 90s, folks. 80s to 90s. 80s, you could be arrested when you had it for a kiss. Back then, the rainbow flag outside a bar or other establishments meant you could walk in without being kicked out or worse. Flying it was a risk and an act of humanity. That is what pride meant. Then gay rights emerged. Pride marches, i.e. the earnest demonstrations for equality, morphed into pride parades, silly displays. Pride Month was born, complete with corporate sponsors. These sponsors were calculated as acts predicted with determination, companies involved to win more gay customers and then lose anti-gay customers. The rainbow flag became just another logo. For my part, I wish pride would go away. We've won equality. Why should gays continue to be singled out, even if the purpose is being celebrated? And what are we being celebrated anyways? Don't expect the applaud from being left-handed. Being gay or it's an attitude and not an accomplishment. And then there's Pride Month. Isn't just about gays anymore. And then we have the Dylan Mulvaney beer can scenario. And the whole scenario with that. And we go into that. And so the whole LGBTQI plus whatever nonsense here goes into. And we get into where it's not about what it meant to be. It's not actually about persecution. It's about putting it in your face and going, you've got to accept it. And no, people don't have to accept it. And that's exactly what's been happening, folks. Trans rights, yes. Toxic in-your-face activism, no. This is an article from 2021 of October, folks. And by all people, it's just Jessica Triff. So this is about the in-your-face activism. This is the problem. This is what's destroyed the concept of pride. This is what destroyed the concept of, being part of a society. This is why we are having arguments and whatnot. And it's not just, it could not only just be applied for the gay spectrum, it could be applied to any spectrum, any issue based off of those things. The further you stretch out that issue, the further your argument becomes invalid. And when we deal with situations, so that's an article from back in 2023. Let's get a current one here. Look, this just came out this week, in fact, or just a week ago. Counterpunch, the war on trans people. So this is by Join Our List. So this year, Pride Month arrives as essentially dire moment for the LGBTQ community. Under the second Trump administration, homophobic again. Look, see? I'm adding this article for one reason, to show you exactly what they're talking about, what I've been talking about. Immediately, within a line, it's about Trump and homophobia. And on X, it's deepfake videos of canceling Pride Month, all this. Believe it or not, there are 701 anti-trans bills that have been introduced in the legislative. More than $215 million was spent on anti-trans television. Now, I really want to know what they mean. What is their anti-trans television moments? Because I'd love to see those. Because I haven't seen a single bit of those. Are there people that speak out against trans people? Yeah. And they have an opinion. And they have a right to express their opinion. Just as I have an opinion. I have a right to express my opinion. Just like trans activists. They have a right to their opinion. Their opinion does not dwarf other people's opinions, though. And that's the key. That's why we have voting. That's why we are a country as we are based on the laws we are. It is all about individuals coming together and being a voice in general. Not individuals being separated from a different group to different group and then screaming out and demanding other people have to accept them. It's about coming together, not separating apart. And it's articles like this from the Counterpunch that are like this that are problems. But then we get articles like this. So this came out yesterday. No one expects the Trans Inquisition. 1 minute you're lying there in your life, minding your own business. Life is busy. If you aren't taking care of your kids, then you're working. You aren't one to cause trouble. You are a law-abiding citizen. You take your work, you take your responsibilities seriously, and you make enough money to stay safe, stay self-employed, meaning and with discipline and principle. You don't need or want boss breathing down your neck and micromanaging you, and you don't like anyone telling you what to do. And then the Trans Inquisition is beating on your door. Unbeknownst to you, your regular reading activity on social media, and the Trans Inquisition is mad and threatening you with banishment. No one expects the Trans Inquisition. When my sister in the trans cult bullied me into reading The Irreversible Damage, I felt like I was dealing with a religious fanatic, not a person of logic or reason, given they come from an openly atheistic family that was supposedly a paragon of logic, reason, and free inquiry, which was so confusing and destabilizing, and it was never more apparent than the trans movement had become a secular religion complete with dogma, righteousness, and crusaders to bully the non-believers into submission. This is an article by Cassandra Stockman here. And this is sort of their own Substack article. And they're right. There is a very religious faction and fact to the trans movement, to racial movements, to citizenship movements, to any movement. The climate movement was always called out for one such case, where people continuously be like, oh, well, we're dying and we must save the earth and all this stuff, and they get to radicalization points where they're destroying people's lives and livelihoods. And they're like, we gotta do this. We're seeing that with the Gaza situation, where protesters literally breaking down right now at the moment, and considering a combination of such as the Greta Thunberg situation that's been going on today, with her going to Israel to try and, quote, bring aid to the Gazans on a sailboat, with the aid being about maybe a box of food. That's about it, folks. About a box of food. And then they were taken. Now, mind you, they were captured by trying to float into an active war zone. And they were seized by the Israeli police and stopped. And of course, they come out now all of a sudden, and they're like, "Oh, we were prisoners." And actually, even before, they put out videos saying they're arresting us, they're kidnapping us, we're in horrible situations, and they're not actually thinking; they're just acting. And that is a religion. That is what you're doing. You're acting out a religion. You're not thinking a religion. And to quote Thomas Jefferson, God would much prefer someone who puts into question his ability than unbridled faith. You need to think your moves. You cannot sit there and be like, oh, well, this is an absolute, and this is the reason, blah, 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 blah. This is our problem, folks. This is our problem. And we'll show more of it as we go. So yeah, when we talk about the mind-numbing activism. We are talking about people who are pretty much just set on one mindset and never, ever actually think. And the irony is, these are the same people are being, you don't think, you don't read. It's like, you're not reading or thinking. You're just taking in one thing, one side of views, and you're not actually looking at opposing articles. You're not looking at opposing views. You're not listening to other people's viewpoints. You're just spewing what you've been taught. And that's brainwashing, folks. That is literally the definition of brainwashing.
Does she know I'd bake a cake for
And the irony that we have a society today that just accepts things 100%. And the irony is that they'll sit there and argue the other side is 100% that way too, or that way, but they will never see it that they're also that way, and that's the horrible nature of it. They won't look and be like, well, I disagree with people on those viewpoints. And I brought things up. I mean, I do disagree with some of the viewpoints. I do disagree with some of the laws that are on the books to be voted upon. More than likely won't be, because it won't hold water when it comes to the courts. But, I mean, people, you know, there are some laws that I'm like, okay, you're reaching too far. You're going into pretty dark territory here with that one. And I mean, I will use the anime law that we're talking about. So that did pass the Texas law, and I don't know if it was signed into the bill or not yet. But effectively, when we talk about that law, it's basically Texas has stated anime in general is pornographic material and is not accepted in Texas. Doesn't matter what material it's for. So it could be Pokemon to actual pornography, hentai. So that it's not acceptable that cartoons are only for children. Only for children. How Texas is actually going to, uphold this law is beyond stupid and recommendation. It's a dumb law. And it's going to be challenged in the courts. And ironically, of all places, the largest anime company in the U.S. is in Texas. It's one of the reasons why there's a halt right now on new DVD production. I've been looking into this a little bit. So, there's a combination of why DVDs haven't been coming out. New DVDs haven't been coming out. One of it is it's mass production. They need the materials for mass production, and the tariffs have hurt a little bit there. And I don't agree fully with all the tariffs, but I do agree with the tariff concept. And two, the other issue that most people don't realize is this law. And it's, okay, if we produce this, we're going to be fined. And we're going to be fined to the point where we can't operate. So, studios are starting to use staff and whatnot outside of the state for right now. There are still some people that operate in Texas with the things, and I don't know fully. I haven't really gotten in touch with too many people I know over at Crunchyroll or over at some of the other studios what they're doing in this scenario completely. But I know they're doing with a lot more voice and talent that is in California, or voice and talent that's in another state or another location. And they're using that for that to produce videos online, and it's kind of hard to go into territory on how the law is going to fit until legal issues are brought up. So there's how that stands. It's a dumb law. It's a dumb law because it's too freaking broad, and basically, it's Fahrenheit 451. It is literally the Ray Bradbury book in living color here, but basically where it's we're censoring an entire genre because some people disagree with how the genre is portrayed, or what is in the genre, even though it's not a genre, it's a style. And I always hate that people consider anime a genre when it's not a genre. As an artist, as a writer, and as a person who does anime or does manga as an art as a living, yeah, it's a style. It's not a freaking genre. Crying out loud. Will I get sued from Texas? I don't freaking know. I don't freaking care. They can try and come after my low income ass and try and sue me for creating art. I'd love to see that. I would love to have that day in court and be like, so, Your Honor, I am producing and stories and telling stories of this nature for this audience of this thing, and they feel it is wrong for me to even do this. Tell me, what am I supposed to be producing? How am I, as an artist, supposed to keep doing my job? And it's dumb nature. It really is. It really is dumb stuff. So when we talk about the laws that people say that are either A, being supposedly violated for trans people, which doesn't exist, again, does not exist. I'd love to see the laws. I've never seen one. And we pointed out the two that people continuously bring up. And say, oh, you're taking away from trans kids. Well, trans kids should not be getting transitioning. Because good chance, very likely, they're not trans. There is a strong chance for that, folks. And the sooner you learn to accept that nature, that there is such a thing as, grooming, because there is, that it's important to know people can make their own decisions, and it's best to make their own decisions when they're an adult. What an amazing concept. I know that's been an issue for laws for, pretty much my entire life. But there's a reason why we have alcohol laws nowadays. There's a reason we have cigarette laws nowadays. There's a reason we have laws for ownership of a gun at certain ages. And it's absurd. And I go on this with the pornography laws as well, the concept. I don't care what you do. Yeah, I've had to draw some explicit material before because I've been paid to do it. But at the same time, I don't seek it out. I don't seek to do it, to draw that stuff myself. But I don't think that the porn industry should not exist, yet some groups do. I don't think the anime industry should not exist. Some groups do. I don't think trans people should not exist. As a trans person, I definitely don't think that's true. Some groups do. But at the same time, it's not illegal to be trans in this country. It's not. And we can live by each other and get along with each other by following the laws. Crap. Wrong layer. Okay. That being said, let's talk about the last part of this. So we've talked about the articles there. Let's go to some Reddit. So this was done 2 years ago. Supposedly deleted. Trans people are the hardest group to support, and it's mostly the LGBTQ's community's fault. So this is going in the opposite direction argument concept here. That, let me just get this straight. I support LGBTQ rights. The most close to my friends are LGBTQ. I support them. Honestly, don't care less about the person loves, and after all, I won't be writing someone who can't love someone else. However, there's one group of people I found extremely hard to muster in support for. It's transgenders. This was done 2 years ago, and this is about basically people are tired about this concept. So, and Reddit is by no means a right-leaning site. It is absolutely the opposite end. I used to not support them at all until I did my own research and found out more things about things like gender dysphoria and how it affects people and how people's brains are wired in the womb. I also found out later about the suicide rates. So this is someone who's been buying into the suicide rate. However, after a while, I started to muster up any kind of support for them. To be honest, I feel extremely bad for saying it, but it's the truth. Then there's the fact that a lot of trans people I've met in life online are extremely toxic, narcissistic, and sometimes, like frequently, evil. As we covered at the beginning of our thing when we showed very toxic individuals that are trans. Traits, not only one of my closest friends was sexually assaulted by a trans man. So, that really sucks. And I have seen, testosterone does a lot of things, and I have seen a lot of toxicity from trans males, but I see a lot of toxicity from trans females as well. And it's the people who are out there to be toxic to the get-go. People who do not want to transition properly. And I mean, oh, there's a proper way to transition. No, I mean, you say you want to be accepted as female, but you're sitting around there with a full beard, a full hairy chest, and you're just wearing a dress. That ain't transitioning, folks. That's cross-dressing. And that doesn't give you the right to go into a bathroom. That doesn't give you the right to go after, harass a bunch of people and be like, you have to accept my reality. Come on, folks. You gotta at least put the damn effort forth to at least try to meet people halfway. If you don't, then you're just being a problem. It seems it's hard to take a stance on an issue because it's been actively shouted out down the detransitioners when in reality you think you're going to need to account for both sides of the arguments. Trans people are going through the same procedures that others are laudering. Shouldn't we get to hear some negative outcomes from such procedures? Yes, we should. Which is why it's important to listen to detransitioners as much as it's important to listen to transitioners. And it's important to know where there's middle ground there. There's middle ground with people, The surgeries are not cheap, and they can be very damaging to the body. And it's important for each person who goes through it to understand that. Why did society turn against us suddenly and violently? And this is Transgender UK. This was 2 years ago. Again, there's a sense that the empire is crumbling. Such times of religious thrive and scapegoats are pushed in the wall. The moral panic is useful for some politicians. They don't have to deal with their voters' real issues. We've become far more obvious to the general population since about 2016. About 2004, it was very easy to pass if you wanted to. Now everyone thinks that you're an expert. They double-check everything. We are more frequently targeted. Young people know this about how this is possible now, so they pursue it, and troubles to their parents. There's money on it. 6. A large scale of media in the UK is in the cahoots with politicians that fan the flames of bigotry and help. Then we get this person. I don't believe society as a whole has turned against us. While certain high-profile individuals, certain government ministers, and certain media outlets are dismantling the load of garbage. Now, right there. All right, I'm stopping right here. So what each one of these people has added is their own viewpoint. But they're saying, oh, well, we need to listen to the middle ground. But you're not listening to the middle ground. You're not. You're just accepting your viewpoint and people that agree with you. You're not going and seeing, oh, well, why is this person, displeased with this? Why does this person not agree with me? Again, this is why Reddit is a horrible place to be, and we don't sign into them. Being gay and being trans should not be considered the same under the same umbrella. Exactly. Trans people are much less in common than gay and bi population, and they're much more controversial. It's really important that pride being pursued, even if it hurts the overall cause. My answer is no. People seem to be confused. Most people assume being trans is the ultimate level of being gay. It's not. It's not. If you're gay, you're gay. You don't have to be trans. You don't have to go around wearing a dress if you're gay. It's again, gay, lesbian, bi, that's who you love. That has nothing to do with how you see yourself. Trans is how you see yourself. It is about you accepting you, not the other way around. People don't have to accept you for being you. You have to accept you for being you. U.S. support for LGBTQ rights is declining after decades. The support here is why. And it's a whole video. I'm not going to show it. This was a year ago. So this was already denoting the decline. And I think the pendulum is starting to swing and seeing a larger focus on trans, especially the fight with trans athletes that many use to expand their arguments against the LGBTQ. A number of gay activists who are anti-trans is infuriating. Used to work in LGBT without the T. I have zero clue on how you got through the year without decking the future. See, right there. Their immediate call for violence. Immediate call for violence. Right there. I wouldn't say the acceptance of gays, lesbians, bisexual, asexual is declining if you ask about those on their own, but if you ask about everything else under the trans umbrella, that's where it declines. Even some people who are wholly accepting of having a gay bi kid having issues with child coming out as non-binary or trans. Yes. When you bring your child into it, when you try to alter what people see, it took years of working with my family for them to accept me as I am now. It really did. And they still don't. I mean, we'll still have disagreements. But the thing is I'm not going to stand there and fight with them about things. I'm not going to be like, oh, no. We sit there and we talk rationally about things. And we say viewpoints, and we can disagree. We've had to come to those terms and had to come to those likenesses. How do we do that? We worked it out in therapy. Therapy. Got a bunch more to get through these. Failed transmission. How activists broke up the coalition of gay marriage bill. So this is an article by Mark Grimman published on December 17th, 2024. Arguments about Tennessee barring sex transition-related treatments for minors. This is like I said. Yes, this law exists. Is that against trans people? No, it's against transitioning of minors. There's a big difference. It's better to do it once you've gone through puberty because it's going to be, your body's going to be able to handle it better than you going through it at a young age. Yes, you'll get better results if you transition at a young age, but you're more likely going to be having severe health issues as you grow older. If you do it. I've talked about this before several times. The fire. So I'm waiting for this one to load, but apparently it's taking its sweet time. Let's just go to the sun here. Toronto Sun. Study finds that nearly 45% of trans women inmates convicted of sex crimes See? Here's your problem. And it's male to female inmates behind the bars commit sexual offenders. Why? Because we put them in the women's prisons. Yes, there's now laws to prevent that. And it's because of these incidences. This is the problem. You have a 44%. That's nearly half, folks. Nearly half of a very small population, by the way. Because the trans community should be 0.01% of the population of the world. Not even barely a tenth of a point, okay? There's far too many people, especially criminals. Now, mind you, a lot of these criminals claim they're trans so they can go and have fun in the prison. But, I mean, that's essentially what they do. That's the kind of crap they pull off. Disturbing history of research into trans identity. And this goes into the... they're going into the bizarre textbook of 1975 Robert Stoller case. They're not going into the Austrian studies. They're not going into the studies of cases, infamous, like, what was her name? Damn it. The first trans case in America, trans surgery, which was a former Marine from World War II, that transitioned. Christine, I forget her last name, but this of course is by Scientific America on here, and it tells about how they treat them and whatnot, and start their identity female, and it goes into the history. And Robert did some effed up crap. Okay, Robert Stoller did some effed up crap. And should absolutely be called out for that shit that he did. Yes, trans activists admit they're grooming your kids. See? Daily Citizen. The New Patriarchy: How Trans Radicalism Hurts Women, Children, and Trans People Themselves. This was 2018, folks. These people called this out in Canada in 2000. Helen Joyce called this out in 2018 in Canada. She would be locked in jail if she did that nowadays. Because Canada does not accept it. And then this one. Exclusive transgender math activist connected to pro-pedophile group influencing academic research. So, when we have pedophiles, in this case, that are using the trans movement to kind of cover their basis and promote their pedophilia, that's when we get into problems. So, in the long run of it all... Oh wait, hold on, let me go back to this one. I'm trans. The trans community's illiberalism is putting our rights at risk. My fellow trans activists could take a page from the gay rights movement. Abso-frippin-lutely. So, in recent years, the transgender community has gained a reputation of championing and canceling culture. Unfortunately, this is largely true. In FIRE's 2004 College Free Speech Rankings, a sample of 454 students who identified as non-binary overwhelmingly supported the group of illiberal protest tactics. The survey does not separate the category for female to male or male to female transitioners. Almost 9 in 10, 86% of the non-binary students, compared to 63% of the students overall, said it could be accepted to shut down campus speakers. 73% of non-binary students showed some level of tolerance for physically blocking others from attending a speech, while 45% of students overall said the same. Most shockingly, 53%, or more than half of non-binary students, did not categorically oppose the use of physical violence to stop speech. Compare that to 27% overall. This came out, when was this article? It was a few years, last year. This came out last year. And it's gotten worse. Instead of people speaking, there are literal cases, and I will use Riley Gaines in this concept. When she goes to speak, she gets attacked. Almost every freaking time. Same with any other voice against the trans movement. They get attacked. And it's the trans activists that usually do it. And a lot of those trans activists, again, are not trans. They support the issue. They support, hey, we gotta do this. So, in the long run, with, I can tell, very few viewers on this one, more than likely because it was they probably took this stream and they're like, hey, we're not going to show this very often. We're not going to promote this stream. So I was like, yeah, okay, I understand. You don't want to talk about it, YouTube. You don't want to talk about it, Google. If I could tell you how long this morning I had to spend searching for these articles through Google because Google would not show me anything negative against the trans community. And I'm a trans person. And it's like, you can't show me the opposing viewpoint at all, Google. You won't show it to me at all. It's disgusting. And same with Microsoft. I mean, I technically use Bing as my server these days because Google sucks as crap. But that's a different issue. That's a different issue. That's more of just having a bad corporation product than anything. All right. Well, we got a panel mostly done. I assure you, we're getting a lot done on Love Potion Lament. Some people are, I'm sure, getting a little groany and like, why haven't we seen much? But their page is getting completed now. I haven't done word balloons for a reason, and it's simply because I don't want to do them until I've completed the project at this point, or get near completion. But I'm getting towards that point where a lot of these pages are getting finished within a day or so, and it's like, okay, this is getting done, this is getting done. And it's coming down to the detail, finishing up details, as well as some character art. I have 2 pages left, full pages left to draw, one of which is completely planned out at this point. It's literally just me drawing the characters, and the last page has me to go over and approve the final art for it. And so when that's done, that's done. And there will be new stuff coming out. So people that do follow me for my art, or watching this later because you saw it on the DeviantArt post that usually goes up with the final art we post. One Piece will be out next week. Witcher will be out next weekend. Actually, both will come out on the same day, I think, because the 15th, I think, is Sunday. Yep, both will come out on Sunday. So, there will not be a Witchin' the week after, but the week after that, we should have Love Potion Lament dropping publicly, for everybody, I believe, because I've been reading the stipulations of the contest. We've been posting our content on a new site for us that is both English and French. And my French is very, very basic. Croissant, rouge, blanc. That is my French. French fry. No, they're not called French fries in France. But yeah, no. So yeah, it's when we talk about these kind of scenarios, I kind of figure the stream's gonna be dead. I really do. And it's because YouTube doesn't like to talk about it. Twitch doesn't like to talk about it, stuff. And it's like, alright, I understand. And I'm not surprised. I'm kind of surprised I haven't had anything pulled. I mean, like, Toad, this is not suitable for your audiences. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it's educational, it's news, it's learning how to be a multi-viewpoint, learning how to understand and take in that neither side is right on all things, and it's always important to look at all sides of the issue before making decisions. And it's never good to go out there and just be wholeheartedly, I'm one way, and not listen to other people's arguments. And then when you get to the violence and hatred and, you know, doing things that have been going on last weekend, which is firebombing, destroying businesses, destroying lives, even taking lives. Yes, there's been someone that died in the whole riot so far. It's a matter of, you know, you need to take a moment, step away, calm down, figure out ways to do things. For me, when I deal with a stressful situation, and I'm dealing with a couple right now, I'm not going to go into them, but I'm dealing with a couple of them right now in my life. When I deal with these situations, I have to step away. Yeah, I might spend a day where I stress eat, or I might spend a day where I do, you know, play video games, or just veg the hell out, or do something that's not in my genre of helping myself to be better, but in a way that does help. And then I come at it and I'm like, okay, now that I'm calm, now that I've stepped away from the problem for a moment to breathe, how do I focus on the issues now? What do I need to do? What are my plans going forward? How do I approach this issue? And that's how you have to handle it. And to be honest, to prepare for tonight's stream, I didn't go and watch the news. Although I watch the news anyways, but I mean, I didn't watch the news or anything like that. We of course did the research, but I watched a video on the reaction of, or the actions of cops the moment after they have to do the unfortunate, and how they handle it. And it was all these cops, it was basically about cops breaking down after they have to do something they don't want to do, and they end up having to do it. And whether they did it in the right or the wrong, you can just see the moment changes just in their heart and in their mind. And it's the same for soldiers. It's the same with anybody with a harsh situation. How do you survive the problems of life when life gives you problems? You have to take a moment, breathe, find a way to relax, calm your anger, calm your frustration. Don't go into it with anger and issues. Sit there, plan your way. Plan what you need to do. Plan each and every kind of possible aspect. When I came out as trans to my family, I had that in mindset. I had to plan every scenario. I had to go into that situation before my family, before my friends, and be like, hey, I'm trans, and for them to absolutely hate my flippin' guts. I had to go into that situation thinking I would be totally ostracized. And I wasn't. And the reason I wasn't was because I approached it rationally and thoughtfully. And that's how you have to handle a situation, especially a situation like what's going on right now. You have to take it in, calm down, and approach it rationally. You can disagree with people, but when you get violent, when you get destructive on other people's livelihoods, when you destroy other people's beliefs or force them to have to accept you, that is when you destroy your argument. It happens every time, and the sooner people realize that that's what's causing the problem with the trans movement, that's why pride is dying. There it is. It's right there. If you stop being that way, you'll find that people actually will accept you. You'll find that people don't give a rat's ass what you do. As long as you're not committing crimes, you're not harming other people, they don't really give a damn. But they'll be there for you if you need the help at times. And sometimes you might find the support you need. Be it for being trans or being gay or, you know, being a person that loves hockey. All right, I'm an anti-sports person. Okay, I don't care for sports, and I don't. My opinion has always been, if I'm not playing a sport, I'm not paying attention to a sport. So, and even if I'm playing a sport, I might not be paying attention to the sport. But let's get on to the art today. So, I had a unique request. So, back in the 2000s, there was a show on Cartoon Network called Camp Lazlo. In the show, you had basically a boys and a girls side of Camp Lazlo and teaching and whatnot. I was given a request by an individual to draw the character Nina, who is this giraffe girl in front of us here, as a human being. So we are going to be taking this giraffe girl and drawing her as a human being. As you can see, I've already done the sketch. Partially because I wanted to get a figure out there. I had an idea of what I kind of wanted. I don't know if I'm going to go with the giraffe spots for leggings. I might have to pull up the giraffe spot leggings. We'll definitely have a scarf no matter what that has those on there. But we're going to be doing, that's exactly what we're going to draw. We're going to be drawing this young girl that was a cartoon character, and we're going to draw her as a human being. So, we will do what we can here today. And I definitely want to thank the individual. Let me pull up my list here so I know exactly who I'm thanking. So this is Kating Ryder. Kating Ryder over on DeviantArt. They wanted Nina from Camp Lazlo as a human. Simple enough. Simple enough. And I kind of want to give her a smile. But I kind of need to keep her nerdy at the same time. And I definitely screwed up the face a bit in the sketch. Because I did not follow the lines properly. So her nose would go there. Eyes would be right here. Considering she just has those dot eyes, I'm going to make her eyes small, but her glasses pronounced, and they have to be thick glasses still. So we're gonna still do thick glasses on her, because that's how the character was drawn. So we're gonna draw the big thick glasses on her. Probably more like fashionable glasses maybe these days. Something like that. So let's and I'm going to keep them black on the rim because that's how that is in the character. So we're going to keep black rim glasses, and we're just going to draw it out. And this gives us a little moment to calm down. We weren't really heated. I kind of stated this month I didn't want to do too many heated debates. And I knew going into this as like, I need to not be heated coming into the stream, because this would be one where people be like, oh, well, I completely disagree with you, and your viewpoint, and you're welcome to do that. I always welcome it. I don't censor people in comments, or viewpoints. If you want to landbass me, go ahead and landbass me. Just keep in mind terms of services. I might have to mute you if you're being, abusive in ways that they won't allow. But so we're gonna add girl's eyes there. Actually, I'm gonna do something I haven't done before on the stream. We're just gonna make them flat out black. Instead I have to do pupils or color, because her eyes are just dots in the comic or in the cartoon. But we need to do a scarf on the neck, because that is where her spots are prominent. So we want to make sure we cover that look in a way, and it kind of gives her a little bit, going back to the concept of French, kind of gives her a little bit of a French look. Ooh la la. Not so much this case. We're talking about if I were to age the characters in Camp Lazlo, of the cast of Camp Lazlo, at least this character, she'd be in her young teenager years. So we're talking someone who's in her early teens, late preteens, somewhere around there. I kind of want to redo that finger. Basically, she's going to be bringing her hand over and kind of adjusting her glasses, because she's the nerd in the show, and so we're going to treat her like the nerd and give her the stereotypical glasses motions. With her hand, and she's also going to have a book of science fiction, because that is what she was into. I had to do a little research on her. She's going to have very lanky arms, though. I need to kind of make sure her arms are lanky. And I definitely went the wrong direction with her elbow. I mean, last week we of course did an art one. Not too many people enjoyed that one, so we kind of did a topical this time. When I decided what to do for this week's show. But I had a moment last night, because I got to creating a character for Love Potion Lament that I knew eventually would appear in Witchin' as a series, because those who don't know, Love Potion Lament is supposed to be like a prequel to Witchin'. So the characters you see, their story will continue in Witchin'. And in some cases, they've already continued, because Theodore, who is the boy in the green with the tealish green hair that you've been seeing me draw earlier. They're the main character of Witchin'. So it's not too difficult there. But when we talk about sort of designing a character and be like, well, that's an interesting character, I had that moment last night. So I sat down and I drew, because the opposing character in the series, in Love Potion Lament, is Ryland, who is supposed to be Theodore's best friend in school, who has, through what they thought was originally a love potion explosion when they first met, has used that sort of as an excuse to accept their feelings for Theodore and sort of tried to hide it away, but also had fought with the, do they admit it? Do they, will they, won't they admit, their feelings? And that's literally what Love Functional Ment's about. But in order to do that, I wanted to show one of Ryland's parents, and I said I was going to show his mom and a picture. And so I drew one panel where she's going to appear in that thing. And originally I was like, okay, well, generic female, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what? I didn't really think about her. And then I sat down and was like, okay, tonight I need to draw her. And that's what I did last night. And it's like, all right, how do we draw her? What's she like? And all of a sudden it hit me. What if this woman had... Because the whole thing with Ryland's family and Ryland as a character is he is an illusionist, but he also uses magical runes. That's one of his things. That's what he does in the series. So, while Theodore has curses from their father and their mothers of huge precognitus, it's pretty much in the case of Ryland's mother, I kind of came up with the concept of, well, what if she is a rune mage who works, something that wouldn't be womanly, wouldn't be accepted normally, and would normally be like considered, no way could a woman do that. And so I made his mom she's works Lacrima mines, which Lacrima being a fantastical magical energy source throughout different fantasy novels, different fantasy stories and whatnot, and will be a source, of course, in Witchin, because it helps to use some of that stuff to create from. And in her case, she has strength runes written on her tattooed on her arm. While Ryland has some tattoos on his runic tattoos on him that represent, in his case, love and protection. So it's I put on the strength rune on her shoulders, and I made these huge muscly arms, but on this still feminine body, because I've already established that Ryland's father is a lover of certain type of women. And it's that type of women that Theodore had used to create the identity of Ida from. And so I was like, well, I need to have her fit both of these personalities. Like, just make this design off after like Miss Universe, but Miss Universe if she could also still be a supermodel. Concept. Be that sexy supermodel, playmate kind of scenario. With the design. So, have this very lovely looking, yet at the same time her attitude is just very abrasive attitude, personality-wise, that I can't wait to introduce her more in Witchin. And it's just, I literally spent the day yesterday, or the evening yesterday, just kind of like, alright, what's she like? What's she doing? I literally planned out this woman that I did one drawing of. That's it. One drawing of. And now I have to put her in the story, because it's like, I enjoy the concept so much of having this very masculine personality, but feminine look, yet same time having a little bit more of a masculine build character, and that's what we got out of her. Tall, that's too much muscle. It's too much muscle. You want her tall and lanky. Alright, But yeah. So I mean, I did that last night, and that's it pays into the concept of what we were talking about last week, when it's like when you do a creation and you kind of love it, you know, you'll build from it, and that was the case this past day. And so I mean, I wanted to give a little callback that's not going into territory that most people would hate, and most people, you know, be like, I don't you know, talk about your views and trans, and I understand that. It's kind of why I don't try to do politics and talks while we do the Stardew Valley streams, because it's like, okay, those are different category, and you know, if someone wants to ask me advice about being trans or whatnot, which we did have 2 weeks ago on the Stardew Valley stream, I'll give advice. I'll give advice. What I can give for somebody who wants to dress or pass or whatever. I'm not objecting to someone being trans. Because that would be me objecting against myself. But I am objecting against people who want to force other people into that viewpoint, and don't. When it comes to forcing anybody for any viewpoint, I'm always going to stand against you. It's just that concept, because it's just a negative nature way to react to people, and it's a good way to be like, okay, you're just trying to force people into viewpoints, and you won't accept to hear other things. And I'm of that mindset with every kind of issue, and I make my own decisions. I form my own decisions. Like I said, while I tend to vote a little bit more towards the right, I am a constitutionalist at heart. That is what I study, that is what I follow with my political beliefs and everything. Oh, she's got some thick eyebrows. I don't know if I can draw in the eyebrows thick. Oh, there we go. We can do it there. And she's got that sort of I think she's gonna have kind of like a curled hair style here. Alright, I need to look one thing up. I need to look up how to draw giraffe spots. Well, I just need to see the spots, actually, in general. And so I know how to appropriately draw them. Okay. So a giraffe spot, and I'm going to kind of go over this, is they're not really spots. They're more like segmentations. They're kind of like this. So that's a giraffe spot. So that's what we're going to be looking towards a pattern. When we do the pattern, we kind of want to have those segmentations. Again, very thin. And then I gave her I was thinking maybe some hiking boots. She's not going to have very thick thighs because, well, she's a teenager and she's supposed to be lanky. So we're gonna make her lanky. Up. Alright, and for her sort of little hair bob things, we're gonna kind of do like outstanding curled up bangs. I think that's going to probably give us the best result for how her... She kind of has a middle part and then go with the bangs. Probably going on that concept and have her hair kind of go down into it. And then we'll do... And see, you kind of see I did the beret up top. And it's like, I really just kind of wanted to sketch out the idea a little bit. But I went way too high with the beret on it. Alright, we still gotta do the feet, and I am gonna do, try and do a background similar to the camp, in the background, when we get to it. So, that is what we're going for today. I did watch Camp Laszlo. I think it was one of the few shows I watched. I'd come home from my day job, and sit down and watch when I had cable. And it's enjoyable. It's not as memorable, I don't think, as most Cartoon Network shows. It's one of those kind of, oh yeah, that used to be a show, type of scenarios. And I would watch it simply because it was something that I could tolerate on. Because I could not tolerate sports, and when you have cable, and it was like, everything was like either sports or the news. And it's like, I can only take so much news in a day before I have to be like, I need to move away from news and focus on life a bit and enjoy life. And I mean, I especially say that to anybody here. I mean, if you find anything is getting too much in your life, take a moment, step away from it, get a breather out there. As we said earlier, it's like very important to kind of get those breathers in the life. Alright, let's see here. Remove that. Actually, I'll hold off on doing the individual pages right now. I do want to get the book, though, mostly done. So let's get that up here. I don't need much. I just kind of need like a hint of the book down here. And I do promise I'm going to try and find something a little bit better to talk about next week. I don't want to talk about the riots this month. I really don't. And it's simply because, like I said, I want to have a calm month. I really do. I've had enough personal stressor this month. And it's only the 10th. It's only the 10th! And the fact that I've got to get this comic done and work on some other stuff that needs to get done, and also get the commissions going so I can get some money coming in, is another thing. So it's like, I really need to do these things. So I'm going to give her leggings, because I kind of feel like she'd be, while she's nerdy, she'd have some sort of stockings or leggings about her, on her. Like I said, the main issue is going to be, do I want to put the spots on those legs? And part of me says yes, part of me says no. And the reason that I say part of me says no is when you look at a giraffe on their legs, they tend to not have spots down on their legs. Their legs tend to go bare. That's where they tend to go white on a giraffe. let's bring that on up. They kind of need they have to have these boots, the hiking boots. But I do want to kind of make them a little more.
We've been dragging chains uphill for years, pouring sweat on deaf their fears. Pockets light but hearts heavy, feasting on our
That's wrong.
blood ain't
Oh,
so
I just broke her
fair.
ankle. It's important as an artist to know when you break somebody's legs or break something in their form, and so you don't get the barrel chest of Captain America. I'm looking at you, Liefeld. Liefeld's never going to live down that drawing. He really isn't. I mean, that was probably one of the worst comic drawings in the history of comics. Is the overly barreled chest of Captain America, where his chest is about like 5 times the size of his head. Let's go. Let's see.
Watch us march, we're coming fast. Gonna leave your power in the past. Wasting no more time or tears. Time to burn those wicked gears. We cry no more, we're breaking chains. Gonna torch your gilded lanes. No more kings and no more pawns. We'll rise up before the dawn.
That's I mean, I know she's got an exaggerated foot, but I mean, that's a little too exaggerated. I need to be doing the shapes. So, alright, her ankle, right there. So, we're gonna do the boot right here, facing outward. We'll do a heel, slight heel. There. And then that one, I think that one's fine. It's just it was the other one that was like, I'm snapping her ankle in half. So I think the position of the other ones should be fine. So we're not going to worry about that then. All right, let's see here. Bring this on up. Didn't realize I kept my hat on the entire time since I went out to get the mail. Yep. Hiking boots need to be. You need to cover the ankle. So when you're drawing a hiking boot versus a tennis shoe, it has to be above the ankle, because that's. You're protecting your ankle, and when you hike, and it needs to have some form to it, so it needs to be structural. So when you draw one, it's important to kind of figure out, okay, I need to have some structure into this boot. But you can still have a little fashion to it.
Balloons on the floor and cake in the fridge. Gonna celebrate me like I'm the birthday Grinch. Happy birthday to me, I'm the queen of the day.
And we're gonna
Throw my own party in a big silly way. Happy birthday to me, all the candles will shine. Taking selfies with myself, cause I'm feeling so fine.
that's
and I
wrong.
bought them all. Even wrote myself a card. Let's
First one
have
might be
a
right.
ball.
No, first one's wrong.
Dancing
Okay,
in the
hold on.
living room, nobody to judge, 'cause
Okay,
it's
that needs to
my
go like
special
that.
day, and I'm the fun-loving
No, that's
judge.
fine.
Don't need no one else to throw me a bash.
That
Got a
needs to be added.
playlist and snacks and some birthday cash. I sing to myself like a one-woman show, laughing all the way 'cause
I
I'm my
think
own
I'm still
best
screwing this
bro.
up somehow.
Happy birthday to
Yeah, I
me,
am
I'm
screwing
the
up.
queen of the
Damn it.
day. Gonna throw my own party in a big
Okay, so it
silly
needs
way.
to...
Happy birthday to me, all the
Laces
candles
always
shine,
suck, man.
taking
Drawing
selfies with
laces
myself
always
'cause I'm
sucks.
feeling so fine.
Pretty much needs to go up from where it's been to where it's going, and then come up, tie in a knot, and work from there. Okay, there we go. I'll worry about more about the lace a bit later, but we need to kind of mimic the boot a little bit here. Come on. There we go. That we just drew. We kind of want to...
Happy birthday to me, all the candles will shine, taking selfies with myself 'cause I'm feeling
There's
so
nothing
fine.
wrong against wearing, you know, a little hose or leggings or something like that with boots. I mean, well, leggings you'd probably still want socks if you're going to do hiking boots, I guess. But I say as I have leggings on right now, but
Got a playlist and snacks and some birthday cash. I sing to myself like a one-woman show, laughing all the way 'cause I'm my own best bro.
let's add... So, let me address the quick draws. For the time being, there's not going to be any quick draw videos. There are not going to be any videos coming out individually for a while. And part of that is I've got to find out what's going on with the program. It is not working the way it's supposed to. I'm going to have to get in touch with the manufacturer of said program. Which I use DaVinci, which is the professional tool for editing. So until that is fixed, I will not be able to do videos. So if you're waiting for, like, say, a quick draw, and you're like, well, where's the quick draw of this video? Why have we not seen that one? It is simply because it was held up by some reason or another, because the program's not working. I literally have the video done from last week. I can't produce it because it will not make, it will not actually make the video. I can edit it. I can even show you the video from last week. If I were to open the program, but it's going to take a lot of running that and running the stream is not advised. So I'm not going to do both. At the same time, so it's one or the other. Now we're gonna try and do giraffe spots on her scarf. It's gonna be a little harder to do it on the knot, but we'll work it out. when you're drawing a pattern, so you see I'm doing this pattern here off of the curve here, but I'm trying to make sure it has some little mix to it. So the pattern still exists, but I always want to stagger up the pattern a little bit. So that's the key. You kind of want to keep the scenario a little bit open to interpretation.
Rise from the ashes, the broken past, angels of destiny, long shadows cast. Hold the line until the end. Heroes reborn.
There we go. We kind of got that in there. I'll think about the leggings. I really will think about the leggings right now. I don't want to deal with them. So I do want to keep them because I do feel it adds something to her character. And actually, I kind of want to redo the mouth a little bit because I think it's a little too thick.
Chains of doubt I wear like crowns. In the dark I hear the sound. Voices
No,
telling me
fix that.
I'm bound. Thoughts of failure in my mind. Shadows I can't leave behind. But I'm reaching for the light. No more running from the fight. Breaking free from fear.
I kind of feel like her hair needs to have a bit more volume to it now that I'm looking at it. So let's deal with her hair a little bit. So yeah, it needs to have more of a puff from what I'm seeing. And we also need to give her her sash, because she does have a sash and she does have wards or badges on her shaft or sash. So we need to make sure we give her a sash. Sash. I can't see the sash. I can't see the sash. Sash. There we go. I don't know what went on with me there. I really don't tap it into my vocal training. But yeah, I don't know why I can't say sash today. Apparently I can now, but I couldn't a moment ago. So I imagine, and she's got a lot, it seems. So I'm gonna I imagine she's gonna have a lot on the. That's not right either. So, hey, come here. There we go. So we're gonna put some badges on her.
You smile and I shiver when you look my way. But in my silence, I keep the storm at bay. Echoes of silence whisper in my soul. Truths I can't utter keep me from losing.
And we'll use the basis of the regular colors for her when we bring her in to view here. So.
Protect you from my darkness, as hard as it is to quell. Love is a fire, but shadows cast too long. I shield the light to keep you from my wrong. In this quiet we lie, with 1,000 miles wide. Better to love you in silence than let our hearts.
Alright, and here's something else I heard about today. So it came out the end of Rent a Girlfriend. I am not a fan of Rent a Girlfriend. I have not watched it. I have not read it. So, I can't say I'm not a fan because I've never done either. I've always felt it was a little cringe from what people told me about it. The way it's supposedly ending, I have to laugh. I just have to laugh because it's like, seriously, you railed people on for years about this series that a little bit difficult to sometimes accept what it's about, and so I mean I don't want to spoil it here, but let's just say it's not going to be fans who have been holding out for some good ending. It's not a good ending. Now it could be a translation error, but it definitely doesn't seem that way in the view and the imagery. So this is one I don't think the translation's going to be the problem. It's going to be another situation of where a manga creator creates a story and basically shoots themselves in the foot in the end. Yep. Well, we'll fix that in a bit. So she got red hair. But then she has red hair in the freaking series. So I know exactly what skin tone to give her then if with red hair like that, because it means she's going to probably be, and she's a nerd, pale. It's absolutely freaking pale. Pale as white. Us nerds. You could be not even a white person and you still have pale skin as a nerd. Because nerds, we do not enjoy the sun activity. We enjoy the keeping indoors society. Indoor activity is always our favorite. I might get some people not liking me doing this character and be like, you made them too nerdy, or you made them too childlike. It's like, well, I hate to inform you, the character's a child. If you wanted an adult version, you should have told me to do an adult. You should just make them human. Stop making them human. They're not adult. Get what you pay for. Well, in this case, they don't pay. They're not paying, so simple answer: not getting squat, and they're not getting to be able to say back anything. I literally talked about this last week. So I had to put down the rules on requests. 4 days. 4 days before someone tried to break those rules. I swear, I cannot make it up how quickly people do not read rules and they're like, well, I must absolutely have, all these characters, and you must draw me this amazing drawing and do it for free. No. I don't owe you what? So, I was a little bit nice, but temper's still rising on those. Where people are gonna be like, hey, I must absolutely have all these characters and all this stuff drawn up and done for free because I don't want to pay you anything. No. Let's, because I don't want to do much. I do want to make the shoes stand out a little little bit. Let's give her yellow stockings. Alright, like I said, she's pale. And the reason she's pale is because she is a redhead. That is the reason why. You show me a redhead that is dark and tan, I will gladly make the change, but most redheads are pale ass. I say that as a person who's currently got red hair. But mine's my choice. It's dyed. But I'm normally a brunette. I swear I'm a brunette. I'm not a blonde. I'm not an idiot. Although I've been told I look good blonde before in the past, and I've always said no because I know family will make fun of me. Family and friends will make fun of me, and I expect it of them if I go blonde. Like, oh, you will make fun of me if I go blonde. Although I might still have, I do have some blonde in my hair these days. Because my brown has been always like a mixture of brown and blonde. Let's see. We got a lot of green and blue, or greenish blue, sort of tealish color, and orange, a little bit yellow and browns. Let's bring in a cool color. And I don't know why. I always think it's of textbooks as blue. I swear most of the books in my freaking school years were blue. There were a few red, but I mean, it's usually blue or red. And for me, I just remember a lot of them as blue, so I just draw them blue. I do need to do something there with that. Oh, no. And there needs to be a slight darker tone. As we bring these out and about. Alright, I think I'm going to redo the badges a bit, but what I'm going to do is kind of treat them like I did with the eyeball and work them out from black. Actually, let's, 'cause I don't like how the spacing is with this one. So let's remove that one, and this one kind of needs to be cleaned up anyway. So let's kind of space these a little bit better, actually. Because I have a feeling she'd be OCD if anybody in the show was.
Oh, Farnsworth University, we pledge to thee with Wi-Fi weekend pizza free. Your library's lost the Dewey Code, but we've got spirit overload. F you, we'll shout it loud and true.
I do feel she's an overachiever. So we'll give her many badges, many badges. But we'll make what the badges look like since we got the time.
Your football team might never win, but who needs score when there's more gin?
So let's say one is crafting. So let's do this kind of yellow. And let's do something like a face or something. Let's do a face. Kind of like that. So
the campus squirrels have gone insane. Our chem lab once lit
another one. Let's do
but Farnsworth
this
spirit
color.
stays unflawed.
And
We'll shout it loud and
face.
true.
And this one can be a fish.
And exams overdue. Our hearts bleed maroon.
And we'll make a little fishy.
In chaos, we trust at good old FU.
Let's do one that is probably fire building or something like that. And we'll do like a little fire. Something like orange with a little bit of yellow. White. Maybe let's do
Woke up at dawn, grabbed my rusty hoe, headed to the farm where the parsnips grow.
I can say I was not in Scouts, so and any Scout. I wasn't in any Scouts. I was in the Indian Guides. That's what I was in when I grew up. As a way to have a good relationship with parents. So let's see, we'll put the one hand going like this or something like that, and another hand going like this. I think it's something I remember seeing my brother have, because my brother was in Scouts. I was not. I didn't like the idea of Scouts anyway. I really didn't. I kind of felt it was like, I was very antisocial as a child, for obvious reasons. I much prefer to read books and be quiet, do my own things, than go out and be sociable. And the few times I've been sociable, I got my ass beat. I lost a tooth to a bully. So, yeah, kind of made it acceptable for me not to be wanting out in the society.
Townsfolk are weird, but their hearts are gold. Guess I fit right in with these stories untold. Stardew life is sweet like jam. Milking my cow while I befriend a lamb. Planting my seeds under skies of blue. This farm life's bonkers, but it's all I wanna do.
How about we do like knitting for this one? If I can, it'd be like really weird. But let's see here. We also got. I just realized we gotta do it in a lighter color. The other end. Yeah, we don't have a true yellow there. Let's do a yellow.
Looking for
Let's see. We need to add some shading to her.
In this world we stay alive. Better dog, he's got my back. Together we find a track. People hiding on the ground.
I gotta do her hair in the lower spot, I just noticed. Just a little bit of shadow here. How are we? Okay, so we're about an hour in on this drawing. So. The thing that, let's see, I'm trying to remember, I mean, Camp Laszlo, of course, it was named after, the titular character Laszlo, which was the main character, who was a monk, I believe is a monkey, and the only thing I remember is the counselor, the head counselor, and the main antagonist, the moose. I never really took him too much as a, true antagonist. I don't want to call him a villain because he's not a villain. He's an antagonist of the story. I never really felt he was that solid of an antagonist, but I did like him as an antagonist a bit. But I do feel like he could have used a bit more. And I think that's probably where Laszlo kind of was a little weaker. But I think the weakness may have been because it was a bit of crass humor for a show. So I think it may have been crass humor was causing it to be a problem. Since she loves sci-fi, I'm going to put a flying saucer on the cover. And we'll do like an alien light coming down on her book. What happens? Okay, I see where the opening is at. Let's just put this here. Echoes of the past screaming in my mind. Guess we were all chasing something undefined. I try to hold on to fragments of the truth, but they slip away like my wasted youth. Strangers, reflections staring back at me. Who am I supposed to be? Then we'll add some white on the eyes, but I'm also going to do a little trick. When you draw glasses, and you can barely see the white that I'm putting in here on the sides. So one of the things you need to know, when you draw glasses on a character, they lighten the face. So because the glass actually kind of reflects some of the light, it's a little paler. And then you kind of now and then want to do some lines. So, alright. The reason I had this little image up here at the top, that I wanted to have more of a background that she would commonly found in. So I'm going to hide her character picture. And we're gonna blow up this one in the background. Actually, I'll go ahead and delete the character picture.
The shadow of my life was only meant for me. Searching for the world I need to be.
Where's this? Okay, that's my flare, so okay. So that needs to be up here. Okay.
Now I have to be who that is me as I go. Love is something I
So I'm gonna try and do these cabins. That's what I'm gonna try and do. But you can see, yeah, she literally would be in this cabin, these cabins. So we're gonna try and do a cabin in the background, based off of the design they already have. So I'm gonna move them actually down so I can see my reference. And instead of doing an outline, we're gonna kind of try and do color specs on these.
Just wanna know how long it's been since you felt anything at all. I can tell you hate yourself and you don't wanna come back home. Theo, please, I'm on my knees. I just wanna know. They call me Ida with the spells that amaze, but I used to be Theo.
I kind of figured when I started doing that, I was like, wait, I'm gonna have that in the way. I was like, yep. Alright, let's do...
It's got its eyes on a witch who they don't know. Eyes on me. I question.
Really? Hi there. What is this? An illustration class? No thanks. No, it's not an illustration class. So, Dribble Draw, we do two things. We do a topical chapter for the first 2 hours. And we do some drawing while we do it. And in the second half, we do art requests. So, we used to have this as a separate show, but it's like getting me a problem to do both at the same time. So, that's what this is. So, we have our... This week's request was to draw this to draw the giraffe character from Camp Laszlo as a human. So, that's what we're doing today. That is literally what we're doing for the request in the last half of tonight's programming. But thank you for joining in and chatting. Okay, I need to do the brown roof. So I don't know if I had this song or some of the other songs play last week when we did the stream. So I've been making a few songs again, and I'm making a lot of. I make songs when I'm kind of bored and I want to just clear my head up with something. So I made a bunch of songs for Witchin' because I know I have a whole, almost a full 2-disc soundtrack for Demon Blade. I don't have enough Witchin'. So I've been doing a couple of Witchin' songs. A lot because I've been working on Love Potion Element a lot lately. Just till I can get the damn thing done. But even then, I've got to draw Demon Blade and I've got to draw Witchin', and I'm getting to 2 areas I've really wanted to reach in those stories. And when One Piece Stays at Seas Part 15. Page 15 comes out this weekend. I finally get to a joke I've been wanting to tell for years. I get to a joke in that series that I've been waiting for years to tell. And so when that appears in public view this weekend, I want to see people's reactions to that joke and see if it's landing as well as it did to me. There are a few times I'm like very questionable about this joke's gonna land, this is joke gonna land. For me, this one absolutely lands. I keep referring to it as like, that one's great, that one's great. But it depends on other people. It really does. It really does. And given the situation of the story, it's appropriate in my opinion. It's the only way to start bringing conclusion to the story. Still gonna be not until like September till I finish that one, but with doing one page a month on that one.
I hold a picture frame of yesteryear. Your smile still brings me close, makes you near. Though the years roll on,
So yeah, I mean, while it's been a tough subject today to talk about, and we did talk about it, we did cover it. I'm glad we got it out the way. There are other things we do want to talk about in the future, and other things we want to kind of cover in silly ways. And we'll do it. We'll do both. We'll do both. So I mean, I am glad I got it over with because this was one I knew I was going to have to do eventually. And having addressed Anna before and not Lily Tina, I mean, we had to do that because yeah, Lily Tina is becoming more and more of a problem in the community in general. Just like before. In my solitude, I hear you laugh. It's gonna be the same color. I kind of feel like it should be a different color, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe it's a different color. We'll see. And as always, I leave it open to people. It's like, hey, if you want us to talk about a subject I have not talked about, or if you want me to talk about something that you want me to talk about, that we maybe have addressed but haven't really completely covered, or come back to something, you know, let me know. Let me know. Always open for what people want out of these streams.
Life's a wild ride, no telling how it ends. We're all just wanderers trying to make amends. Everyone's got the troubles they don't fear to mend, but we're gonna go out laughing, that's what I recommend.
Alright, I need another.
Time keeps ticking, flies fast every day,
There. Oh.
but we won't let that bring us down. No
There we go.
way, we're gonna dance like nobody's watching, come what may, 'cause we're all gonna die, might as well do it a happy way. We're all going down, but we're going down smiling, no point in crying when life's got its own timing. So let's raise a glass and let's start chanting, we're alive till the end when we're all
Just trying to do this door frame, make sure we get it closed. I don't know how well it's going to be, but we'll see. Well, that didn't help. Okay, I see where that's a problem. Speaking of Love Potion Lament, this song's Love Potion Lament's opening song. Or theme, so.
Magic hands tremble as a spell has gone wild. My fingers twitch, power like a reckless child. I saw Theo tripping over his own 2 feet. His look so cute and ridiculously impossibly sweet. Love potion bubbling, stirring in a Kelly brew. My heart resisting what my mind already knew. Oh, Theo, you're foolish and yet somehow grand. Years pass, here I shout to make a stand.
Okay. That's open. Let's try and close these.
Potions explode, shards fly past my face. Theo grinning with charm in this strange place. Their hair a mess, their robes catch on fire. Unpredictably cute, you spark my desire. Love potion bubbling, stirring, chaotic brew. My heart resisting what my mind already knew. Oh, Theo, you're foolish and yet I can't help but fall in love with you. Years pass,
Kind of bringing it up
make a
here.
stand and
J-Blast, Steer Streamer, I'd like bot of the day, and it's from Kick. Bot of the day from Kick. Well, actually, I guess we still have a few minutes. We can get a bot from Twitch as per usual.
so bright. I fall into a magical full spell in love under starlight. Laughing at their blunders, yet stayed through it all. My reluctant mage heart is falling as he is breaking my wall. Years stretch time, inches where rumbles on. Enchantments of love grow stronger, our fears long gone. Theo's power casting chaos in the air, and somehow now I can't help but care.
Alright, let's add. I think we need to go with a little bit of a lighter brown. And then I'll do this light.
Wands up, lights flash in the gloom, casting spells in the ancient room.
Just trying to really kind of bring this out as a window.
Magic blooms where shadow falls. Creaking stairs lead to secrets deep. Guardian beasts
hard to see the little tip here. There we go. Alright, let's see. I'm trying to think of what else to talk about today, because I really don't have much, and it's been a lot of personal stuff I don't want to talk about. Going on that I've been having to focus on. So there's not been much for me to really deal with things, and I always talk about, you know, one of the things that we try to promote here is mental health for individuals, no matter what. And that's why we always say, you know, the way we sign off the way we do. My own mental health right now is not in a good place. I've been trying to eat a little bit to get in a better mood. Like I said before, trying to do other things to try and relax and get myself in a better mood. But it's been one of those times where it's just like I really just want to deck something in my life, and in my case it'd be something a little bit more justified than what some people state, because it's more about crappy things that happen in life that you can't take care of, or that people abuse you on. And so it's like, yeah, okay. And that's what I'm dealing with. Alright, and you need to be about the same color. So after this, I do need to, I've been started watching, okay, we haven't talked about that. That's not a problem to talk about. So we do have a anime for Anime Anticlimax this coming month that has finally been chosen. So those who don't know, I am part of an anime podcast group with some friends of mine, and on their stream, and this month coming up, it is Brandon's choice, who usually is the big host of the stream, on our streams, and he wants to do, or he has us doing the Galaxy Express 399 films. And while they're, you know, notable films in anime, as far as, you know, their place in Japanese anime history and whatnot, they are so dated films, in my opinion, and I think that's why most people these days don't talk about them, is because they're so dated. But we will talk about them come the end of the month. I've gotten one of the three done watching. I've watched all three before. It's just been a long time since I've watched them. So it's not new territory for me, but it's still... It's kind of like being like, hey, here's your childhood, you know, take... You know, step on it. and then give me a review of how well it's handled out when you step on it. and it's just like, yeah, it's not that great. And as someone who's been watching anime since the 90s, well, actually since the 80s technically, back when I was a kid, anime was getting its start, you know, and the viewership and becoming known, albeit not well known, but known nonetheless. So yeah, and it's definitely dated. It's one of those anime where I don't think there's going to be an argument with us being like, yeah, this film is. It could use a little bit of update to current nature a little bit. And I am curious, not on our list is the live action. So it's not on our list, but I kind of feel like I want to watch it to see how it was done, but at the same time, it's hard to find it anywhere, and it's really strange considering how when I say this was a big film series for anime watching in the 90s, it was a big film series to watch. Now, mind you, there wasn't many anime films out there, but if you didn't want to be, watching something just all blood and guts, it was this or or a little bit of Ghost in the Shell, but with Ghost in the Shell, I mean, you're talking still blood and guts, but at least it's got some personality to it, or some story more to it than most of the anime in the 90s. So, and if you're watching this later, what do you think if you've seen it before? Let me know. Have you watched Galaxy Express 39 series? The irony is the movies, and this is what really gets me with the movie set, is it's a retelling of a TV series from the 60s, 70s. So we're not exactly watching anything new. We're just trying to get used to what is being told in a shorter, condensed form, and it kind of feels that way in the film. You do feel like it rushes through a lot of plot elements, and so that's kind of why I'm like,
Charm the skies and weave through the mist. Retrace the nights we danced and kissed. Not even Ida can take what we've spun, because my Theo's magic is second to none.
I still need to kind of do some wood panel, and a quick thing. Let's see here. Lines.
I'll charm the skies and weave through the mist. Retrace the nights we danced and kissed. Not even Ida can take what we've spun, because my Theo's magic.
Wow, that is so faint. But it works for what we're doing. I just kind of want to get the semblance that there's paneling. Anything like cabins I stayed in, camping wise, not the best upkeep. And if anybody asks me what the hell this song's about, I have no flipping clue. And I made this song. I know I was trying to. It was a song. It was meant to be a song for Demon Blade, and I said, you know, write me some. It was strictly supposed to be instrumental, and I don't know what this was. Because this did not. I did not ask for this. So I don't know what they're singing, even though I know some Japanese. It's like, I really don't even know if this is actually any Japanese, because it's just such a mess. And the prompt was to use Japanese instruments, but not... or Japanese instruments with a chorus, but nothing like this. I don't know. Alright, say goodbye to the picture. We're gonna go from there. Well, actually, bring it back. I want to get the colors right here. So let's get that and get a green sample. Alright. We're going to the brushes. I'm going to go to watercolor. Kind of go with a transparent watercolor. And I'm trying to make that brush big. Still need to do her bottom of her shoes. I realize that. I need to do the freaking laces as well that I was working so hard on. But I kind of want to make sure that we treat the colors of the series kind of appropriately. Color in the background. I think we need to do a little mix. Let's see.
In a land of pikes and bricks, jump the gap, avoid the tricks,
Lines here.
coins and stars and power-ups, stomp the goom, stomp.
Alright, let's go back to our boots. Finish that up. So we're gonna actually use her own skin tone color. So we're not going to multiple colors here on her. To the bottom of the boots. And even the interior of the boots kind of go with that muddy brown there that we use for the shadow. Alright, now let's finish the laces, and we'll work on shadows and detail on the clothing. I think I'm going to leave the leggings yellow, but I think I might add a little texture to it, simply because I feel it needs some texture. So let's go with that for the color of the laces. So let's so I'm gonna make the lace goes under that way. So every time I go forward, it's gonna be straight, and then segmented, straight, segmented, and I need to make sure that's going down into the hole. Straight. Segmented. Straight.
A nightmare in disguise, a twinkle in their eyes, a
This is another
scar
Witchin'
under
song
their
I really like
sleeves,
to
a
make.
liar who'll deceive.
This is one I really had to work on to get right written. I wanted a good villain song for Witchin', and the family is Lonsdales are freaking villains. So
Ada, my dear, you really should have been warned. A con man for a brother, a narcissist for a lover. There in the darkness you will discover
The secrets this family has covered. Welcome to the family, the family. Welcome to the family, the family. The Wansdales welcome you to your new home, one you will never leave and roam.
Do not be afraid, for you're not a guest. Oh, you Ida are far more than that. If you think you can escape from where you are at, think again, dear girl, that is just a fantasy. You will soon be
I just wanted
part
a very
of this
evil family song, which is what this is.
A killer with a curse, a seer with a verse, a fortune and a hearse. The darkness will submerge. You don't even need to say a word. Welcome to the family, the family. Welcome to the family, the family. You may be a powerful witch, but Ada, if you don't like your husband, you can just switch.
That there is Uncle Dale, don't worry, he is out on bail. Watch your back with Auntie Cat, she will stab you at the drop of a hat. Cousin Perth is missing since the bodies have been unearthed. And let's not forget our greatest grandpa, Gastivario. We should help him, it's time for him to go. Oh, of course, your future husband, Val, is the master of this grand show. You will join us, no, you can't go. Welcome to the family, the family. Welcome to the family, the family. The Wansdales are a family in decline,
Which is why you will fit in just fine.
welcome to the family, the family. 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 Welcome.
All right. Let's add some shadows since we got a little bit of time.
Well, I bought me a truck that could drive itself. Thought it'd take me places, boost my wealth. But last night I heard that engine purr, and that smart rig left me in a cloud of dirt. Runaway rig, where you headed now? Leaving me here with my bank account plowed. I programmed you right, I swear I did, but now I'm chasing after my runaway rig. Saw it rolling down Main with a honked up horn. Took the scenic route past Farmer Joe's corn. Stopped at the diner for a diesel refill. Then left a big tip on the automated bill. Runaway rig, where you headed now? Leaving me here with my bank account plowed. I programmed you right, I swear I did, but now I'm chasing after my runaway rig. It's streaming tunes of its own design, blasting trucker anthems
Alright.
from another time. It passed old
Might call it a
Sally
little
in a
early
rusty
tonight.
Ford. She waved
Might
it
get
down,
done
but got
a little quicker than I think we're gonna get done.
now the sheriff's got his lights turned on, but that stubborn old truck, it's already gone. Went through
definition of the hair here.
time apart. Echoes of fear in the depths of my heart. Through the ages we run, dreams hanging by threads. Chasing a shadow of futures full of dread. Lavos will fall, fire in the night. We'll tear the veil, make a wrong into right. Through time's broken glass, we will answer the call. We rise, we fight for Lavos' fall. Cursed by the silence of an ancient scream, we carry the weight of a fractured dream. Mountains will crumble as the clock hands turn. A spark of rebellion in our hearts will burn. Oh, the darkness seeks to swallow us whole, stealing the hours,
Alright, I'll
tearing
make sure this is more, a little bit more pronounced with the giraffe pattern. I think the black is kind of making it hide away a little bit too much.
For Lavos is
There we go. I think, well, let's add one thing here that they have. Let's add some of these cartoonish jingles.
time whisper, we won't let you reign.
I think that's pretty good. Let's add a little cartoony. That's too much. That's too much.
With courage our weapon, we will stand tall. This is the moment.
Let's add a little bit of cartoony grass. But yeah, I think we've got ourselves our Nina. So let me pull her. See if I can pull up Nina. Let's see on the talk. Let's bring the talk up here. Let's see if that'll work. Let's see web properties. No.
Setting sail on these wild seas.
Yeah, there we go.
Dreams ain't bound by
So there's.
chains.
Let me bring it
Fist
to
crush against tyranny. Gonna make 'em
more in
scream
here.
one day.
So there we have Nina, cartoon version, and then we had Nina, human version. There you go. So yeah, we wanted to bring out the human version in this one. It's a nice little quick one. It's a little bit of a difference from what we've been drawing. I know we've got a couple lined up. In fact, let me look at we've got lined up since we've got some here before we go. So we have a face-off between two characters of cartoon nature next time, and then we have another mix-up of an anime and a very interesting movie, and we'll talk about that movie when it comes to that one. But those are ones to look forward to this month. Maybe, depending on the timeline, we may also have a Sailor Moon one. I don't know how it's gonna fall. Let's see here. Nope, it won't be this month. That one won't be this month. So, if I stay with a new episode each Tuesday, no disruptions, we will have one next week. That'll be a cartoon face-off between two different cartoon characters from two different series. a sort of anime-esque face-off, with the week after being a anime and a cartoon quotation mark movie mashup, where I kind of blend put two characters in the style and look of another set of series. So that being said, I do always want to thank everybody for joining in on these streams. I know it's been kind of a denoted stream, but I kind of figured out it was going to happen anyway when I talked about tonight's subject. And while we talked about Anna and we talked about Lily Tina, do not go and give them hate. Do not cause them problems. But they do need to seek mental health, in my opinion, out of people. And yeah, I hope this answered a lot of people's questions and things on that end. If not, hey, you don't like it, so, make your opinion expressed. Either way, talk about it. Chat. It helps us. Helps us in the algorithm. Otherwise, we'll be back with Stardew Valley on Sunday. And yeah, just let me know what you want to hear in the future. If you want to hear more of these, you want to hear more of that. These tend to usually be hit or miss, depending on what the subject is. But I thank you all for joining in tonight. I do thank really ? Joining in and chatting, albeit briefly, with us. And I want to thank Kattinger Writer over on DeviantArt for their request today to do something quite unique. So, as always, go out there and be the best you you can be. If that means, hey, I can't do anything but get out of bed and eat myself silly because I'm depressed, then that's fine. Just get some help if you are depressed. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and a wonderful year. Good night, everybody.
Lights go down streams and thanks for time we spend. Laughs and smiles all through night. With you, it feels just right. Signing off. Don't forget like, comment, some. Signing off. Ring the bell and show some out. Good vibes, shared a fun ride. With you, I'm filled with pride.